Oh, whoops. Happy Wednesday, everybody. I got my chat feed up too. YouTube's bugging. Sorry I'm late. YouTube is acting freaking crazy. Twitter is acting crazy. You can't follow anybody on Twitter right now. Some people are unable to even see their messages. Let me see. Yep, I still can't. Okay, now I can see my messages. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. YouTube down is trending on Twitter. Yeah, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube are having issues right now. Yeah, it was like not even showing me a homepage there for a few minutes. Then it wouldn't connect. So I don't know what's going on. What's up, everybody? Get to the chat. Good evening, Kib Kitty, Dre. What's up, Phantom? Thank you again for those links. Oh, wow. Prayers. No, I didn't fall asleep. YouTube is bugging. Hey, SRB. Glad you hopped in. Hope everything's going good now. What's up, Kevin? Oh, I bet. Them some fighting words. Aw, such a cutie. She is such a cutie. Thank you, everybody, for being here. If you haven't liked, please hit the like real quick. And if you're not subscribed, please do. They said bomb threat called in from out of state. Yeah, I saw that too. I got a bunch of stuff saved. Hopefully we can get to them. My sinuses are still bugging. Keep having to sniff and blow my nose. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the temperatures jumping all around or a bug flying around or what. It's driving me nuts though. All right, we got our Murdaugh special tomorrow night. So we're just going to do some digging through everything that we got saved this week tonight. Let me see here. We'll probably get to Aiden Fucci this weekend. I was going to try and get to him by Friday, but let's see. New revelations, unsettling behavior. That's a 21-minute Nancy Grace video, though. I don't know if we're going to go with that. 73, that's nice. It was warm today, and then all of a sudden it got cold again. Alright, we'll get everything updated here. Whoops, didn't mean to cover me. I meant to cover the back. There we go. Turn this music down. We'll get going into it. 73, wow. I think it was like 50-something. Now it's like 30-something. Okay, there's a bunch of stuff here. That's a 21-minute video. You know what I do want to do? What I do want to do is go to Ryan Hall, y'all, real quick. Whoops. No, not paste. Oh, crap. Oh, my gosh. What are we doing here? All right, let me... This is his other channel, Ryan Hall. Y'all, extra. Excuse me, I gotta sneeze. Woo. All right. Oh, man. I'm telling you, these sinuses, ugh. All right, Ryan Hall, y'all, extra. These are the quick videos he has. A very complex storm is coming with heavy snow, damaging winds, and tornadoes. There was a video a couple days ago about all the tornadoes coming up for this year, but we'll probably get into that probably this weekend. I do want to hit this one, though, real quick. This is going to be recent and right now. We'll get our weather fix in for this week.
Welcome back, y'all. Ryan Hall here with the weather forecast. There is a ton going on out there, so let's jump right into it. Okay, let's start off with the current watches, warnings, and advisories from the National Weather Service. You'll notice there's a lot of brown on the map over here in the Ohio Valley down into the deep south. That is high wind watches and high wind warnings and high wind advisories. Guys, we're going to see wind gusts not even associated with thunderstorms as we go into tonight, tomorrow, and tomorrow night, around 40, 50, maybe even 60 miles per hour. We've got a powerful low pressure system forming that's going to be bringing some snow on the northern side and some severe weather and heavy rain on the southern side. But in the middle, a lot of us are just getting a big old wind bag. And we'll talk more about this snow right here in a second. But first, the severe weather. This is important. Okay, so because of that powerful low pressure system that's going to be causing the strong winds, we're going to be seeing a lot of Gulf of Mexico moisture come up into the deep south and then causing some strong storms down here. Today, we've got an enhanced risk of severe weather for Jackson, Mississippi, really close to Hattiesburg, all the way back into portions of Louisiana. This is a place that's been dealing with a lot of severe weather here recently, so we've got another round coming. Once again, this is for today, February 8th, and unfortunately, this is driven by a tornado risk. If you live in the yellow area here, you've got a 10% probability of seeing a tornado today within 25 miles of a given point, which is much higher than usual. And then the brown is 5%, the green is 2%. Guys, don't pay too much attention to the boundaries here. Just know that everybody in the colored zones here have a potential of seeing tornadoes today. Okay, let's start tracking these storms. You can keep up with the date and time up there at the top of the screen. This is what the radar could look like around 12 p.m. today. Strong storms trying to form over here in eastern Texas, but they are just going to get stronger because as the day goes on, that low pressure center is really going to start wrapping up. It's going to bring in more warm, moist air from the south. It's going to combine some of that cold air from the back end right in the middle here and cause some big thunderstorms around Shreveport, over towards Pine Bluff, Greenville, Jackson. This area is where the first round's going to hit, and you can see how some of these are going to be discrete in nature. So whenever you see thunderstorms kind of all by themselves like this in an environment like what we're going to have today, that is pretty concerning because those are the kinds that could end up rotating and causing some hail, some damaging winds, and of course, an isolated tornado risk. Things are really going to ramp up around 7 or 8 p.m. tonight around Jackson, Mississippi, down here in South Central Mississippi. This is when things are going to be at their peak. But look at this. There's going to be a big cold front back here with a line of severe thunderstorms moving through southern Arkansas and also into Louisiana. The main threat back here is going to be damaging winds, but right here, we're talking about those dangerous supercell thunderstorms. This is going to carry into the overnight period. So here we are around 11 p.m. tonight. We're going to see some strong storms south of Memphis, north of New Orleans. There's still a tornado risk here, but the main threat at this point becomes the straight line damaging winds. But we still do have that nocturnal tornado threat. So make sure you're prepared. Make sure you have a way of getting warnings. Everyone north of Memphis, however, up here in the boot heel of Missouri, up into Indiana and Illinois, Western Kentucky, this is all mostly just, in my opinion, heavy rain and strong thunderstorms. There's a very, very slight potential for severe weather and tornadoes up here. I'm actually really concerned about flash flooding mostly as we get into this portion of the storm. So let's keep pushing her forward. The storm's really starting to die out as we get into the early morning hours tomorrow. We're still going to see a strong gust of wind move through places like Nashville. Really, that's about it. These are not severe by any stretch of the imagination as we go into Thursday. At this point, the focus really becomes the back end of the storm, which is where we could be seeing some extremely heavy snow. Okay, so let's zoom out a little bit and pay attention to the backside of the storm, because this is where we're going to see an actual big snowstorm. You can see some of that stuff is trying to mix in here in southern Kansas, northern Oklahoma around 10 p.m. tonight. But for the most part, if you're in Kansas City up to Davenport, it's going to be raining, and that's going to continue to be the case all the way until probably around 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. Okay, this is when the snow really starts to break out. It's going to snow heavily in western Missouri early in the morning tomorrow, and you're going to see a lot of this warm air that fueled the severe thunderstorms kind of wrap back around into the cold air side of the storm, and that's when we're going to see a big expansion of heavy snow. Davenport, look at it, 11 a.m. tomorrow, we're seeing heavy snow, possibly intermittent blizzard conditions here. Same thing for you guys in Madison, Wisconsin, all the way up to Green Bay. Chicago looks to be in the warm bubble around this time period. No snow for you, but that might change as we go into the future. Watch what happens here, though. First of all, we're getting a big influx of snow up here in Canada and Quebec and Ontario, but watch how this cold front, this piece of energy coming from Canada, kind of phases with the storm. You see it up here, you're not noticing it much around 8 a.m., but watch it crash into the main storm, and then boom, it blows everything up. We get a big explosion of convection here, and this is actually going to carry us into Friday with a heavier burst of snow that comes through Chicago and another one through Kansas City. Okay, so this is actually where a lot of those accumulation totals are going to end up coming from as the storm exits out to the north and east. Big warm bubble here. No snow for you in the northeast from this one, but that could change as we go into the near future. Okay, so how much snow are we talking, Ryan? Well, down here near Topeka, we're talking about an inch, maybe. But as you get up into Iowa, near Des Moines, we're talking about 4 or 5 inches. Waterloo, 4 or 5 inches. Get over here towards Wisconsin. Now we're in the 6-inch zone. Madison, how about 8 inches? 8 to 9 inches, a little bit north of Madison there. Same thing, about 8 inches or so. Let's zoom in, get in on some of these town names here. Ripon, Fond du Lac. What in the world is going on up here in Wisconsin with these town names? But anyways, 7, 8 inches or so. Once you get up here towards Green Bay, we're talking about 4 inches. And in northern Michigan, we're talking about 6 inches or so. Pretty much everybody in the dark blue is going to be kind of like a 4 to 6 inch zone. And then the purple is going to be like 6 to 9 inches or so. The lighter blue is going to be, 1 to 3, something like that. So that's what we're looking at as far as snow totals go through the 10th or the 11th. So nothing crazy, but definitely a good shot of snow. So the next 48 hours or so are going to be windy, snowy, and stormy. Make sure you're prepared for that, but it's not ending there. We're going to continue to be in an active pattern as we go forward. Let's briefly take a look at that. Okay, starting off here Thursday, February 9th at 4 a.m., this is our current storm, all right? Snow on the backside, strong winds around that central area of low pressure, severe weather on the southern side. Let's watch this thing skedaddle, all right? It kind of just becomes nothing much as it goes up here into Canada. Don't get me wrong. If you're up here in Quebec or Ontario, especially in the more central areas of those provinces, you're going to see some good snow out of this. But for the most part, this is a nothing burger for the rest of the U.S. There is going to be a little bit of a lingering cold front down here that's going to try to spark a new area of rotation, though. Okay, there's going to be some new kind of juice, I guess, for a low pressure center to try to form here. And this is where things get interesting again. We've got this big dip, but this big area of cold air, a high pressure back here. We've got this cold front, a little bit of cyclogenesis trying to start up here. And what happens when you get those ingredients coming together? You get something like this, okay? This is a very classic signal for an East Coast snowstorm that kind of affects the southeastern U.S. Right now, it doesn't look very impressive, but this is 100 hours out. We're talking about Sunday, February 12th here. But look, I mean, we're talking about snow in North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, maybe even all the way out there into the Delmarva area. This is the kind of storm that if there's any more energy that gets phased into this, it could become strong enough to drop significant snow up into the mid-Atlantic here. Maybe it even rides the coast and becomes this, a traditional East Coast snowstorm. Right now, it's not looking like anything anything crazy. I don't want to hype this up. I know a lot of you either hate snow or you're like drooling at the mouth over it. This is our best chance that I've seen in a while. If you're in this area right here for a snowstorm right now, if this is the way that it ends up going, it's just going to be some mountain snow, maybe some lingering snow showers as it exits. But we're going to watch this closely. I've got a feeling that this could turn into something a little bit more as we go forward. If there's more cold air back here, if there's more energy phasing into the system, this could turn into something that we have to watch. For now, it's really not much. Maybe some rain, a little bit of snow, so we're not too worried about it. But I do want to plant that seed just in case things kind of pick up with it. But what about beyond that? We've got another storm forming out here on around Valentine's Day. This is going to be another potential severe weather maker in the south, and let's see what happens with it as it goes off to the north and east. It kind of just once again becomes nothing. We've got that really quick zonal flow that's kind of ripping these storms up as they head off to the east, which is good news if you don't like bad weather. But that looks like it might come to an end, or at least it's going to try to, as we get towards February 16th and 17th. This is our next shot at a big storm. Okay, this is a strong low pressure center, potential blizzard on the backside, severe weather on the front side, and we'll see what happens with it as it gets closer to the coast. But a million different possibilities are there as this big area of cold air does come in behind it. So that's 200 hours away. This is La La Land. We don't really know what's going to happen with this storm, but this one, I am watching it closely. And I'm also watching this one closely. We had a little break. We had a little period of boring weather across the U.S., but things are getting really interesting once again as all of these storm systems are about to slide through as we get deeper into February. That's all I have for you right now. Guys, if you didn't watch my main channel video the other day, I made a whole video about how many tornadoes we're going to see this year. Basically, it's a severe weather outlook. I put a lot of work into it. It's my best video I have ever made, but nobody has watched it. So if you don't care, please go to my main channel, go to my most recent video. Here's how bad this severe weather season is going to be. Our editor will put a picture of it up here. Please watch that video. I think you're going to like it. We put a lot of work and research and money into developing and making this video. I get that it's different and maybe severe weather isn't on.
Well, I've been wanting to watch it the last couple days. We're just on these cases, so but that's the video we'll get to. I have it. I could have swore it was a pretty long video though. Let's see. We'll get into it this weekend, but I just want to see exactly how long it is. But I'll put the link into the chat so you guys can at least go hit the thumb on it. It's got 339,000. Oh, I guess he's got 1 million subs. So yeah, this is the video. 8 minutes. And we'll go ahead and watch it real quick. I'll put the link in the chat.
Last year, 1,146 tornadoes touched down in the U.S., causing $500 million in damage. But it can get much worse than that. In 2004,
There's the link for the video in there if you'd like to hit the thumbs up on it too. We'll just watch it real quick. Fuck it.
2,000 tornadoes in the country, doubling the average. But in 2013, only around 900 tornadoes occurred. What made 2004 so much more active than 2013? And could it happen again this year? Well, let's take a closer look at 2004, which featured a record-breaking 1,817 tornadoes. There were 3 tornadoes in January, 9 in February, and over 100 in April. But look at September. Almost 300 tornadoes occurred during this month, setting the all-time record. What happened here? Hurricanes? Hurricanes happened, yeah. There were 3 huge tornado outbreaks in September as a result of landfalling hurricanes. On September 8th, Hurricane Francis set the record for the highest number of tornadoes spawned by a single hurricane ever. And then just 10 days later, Hurricane Ivan smashed that record by producing a whopping 120 tornadoes. And finally, Hurricane Jean came through and whipped up an additional 42 tornadoes to end out the month. But the crazy part is, September wasn't even the most active month of 2004. In May, there were 509 tornadoes. Between May 21st and 31st, several rounds of vicious supercell thunderstorms produced 389 tornadoes, resulting in almost $70 million in damage. Clearly, the reason 2004 was so intense is because of these big tornado outbreaks. And the same can be said for most other years where we saw more tornadoes than average. For example, in 2011, there were 1,705 confirmed tornadoes. 773 of them occurred in the month of April. This was thanks to several tornado outbreaks, but most notably the 2011 super outbreak, which spawned 360 tornadoes in just 3 days, causing $10 billion in damage and killing 324 people. So in order to figure out how many tornadoes we're going to see this year, we need to figure out how many big tornado outbreaks there's going to be. The problem is big tornado outbreaks are hard to predict even just a week in advance, let alone several weeks or months. Basically, we have no clue how many outbreaks are actually going to happen this year. What we do know is that in order for there to be tornado outbreaks at all, we need storms, tropical cyclones, cold fronts, big low pressure systems. It all comes down to how many of those we get and where they happen. So we just need to look into the future, which it sounds hard, but it's actually pretty easy. We can get a pretty good idea of what future storms are going to do in the US by looking at the temperature of the water in the Pacific Ocean. It might sound far-fetched, but this body of water is so huge that the fluctuation of its temperature actually has a profound effect on the weather worldwide. For the past 3 years, it's been cooler than usual. This is known as La Nina. And here in the US, La Nina leads to a much stronger northern branch of the jet stream. That typically increases the likelihood of severe weather and tornadoes in the Midwest and the Great Plains. We saw this in action during the historic tornado outbreaks of 2021, where places like Iowa, Missouri, and Minnesota saw record-breaking tornadoes. But as we go farther into 2023, the water in the Pacific Ocean is going to get warmer and warmer. This means we're going to exit La Nina and head towards what is known as El Nino. And usually El Nino amplifies the southern branch of the jet stream and it increases the chances of severe weather in the south. But this giant Pacific bathtub ain't going to heat up overnight. It's going to take several months for these abnormally cool waters in the Pacific to reach above average status. In fact, between February and June of this year, we're going to be in a transitional period or a neutral phase somewhere between El Nino and La Nina. So what in the heck does this mean? In my opinion, it means that slowly but surely we're going to see that strong northerly jet start to wind down and dip a little bit farther south more often. This is probably going to lead to a lull or a late start in severe weather season for the Ohio Valley and East Coast due to some lingering cold air and potential snowstorms. And as the water in the Pacific Ocean keeps on heating up, I think we're going to see increasing storm activity along the southern branch of the jet stream, but it won't be very frequent at first. Essentially, things are going to be pretty sporadic. I mean, it's going to be nuts out there. There's going to be a wild mixture of activity between the northern and southern jet streams, leading to potential severe weather from the deep south all the way up into the upper Midwest. Not to mention the big temperature swings that are going to come along with this. It's going to get very cold out there, but also very hot. Man. I got to tell you, this setup reminds me a lot of the year 2012. In 2012, we were exiting a La Nina pattern towards the beginning of the year, and we had reached a neutral phase throughout most of the spring and summer. And that's exactly what's happening this year. Another similarity is that 2012 started off strong with 97 tornadoes in January. And in January of this year, we had 125, which was the third highest for January ever. Also, as we approached hurricane season in 2012, we started getting closer to El Nino. This resulted in a below average hurricane season, leading to less than 5% of the year's tornadoes being caused by tropical cyclones. And from what I'm seeing, it looks like something similar is in store for 2023. Overall, 2012 saw fewer tornadoes than average, with only 939 being confirmed over the course of the whole year. I tend to think that the similarities between 2012 and this year are going to continue, and that will ultimately lead us to another below average year. Somewhere between 900 and 1100 tornadoes will have occurred by the end of 2023. And simply by following the climatology, we can infer where the highest concentration of these tornadoes will occur as we go through the year. As usual, we're going to see the central plains and deep south light up in the spring, then the northern plains and Midwest in the summer, and of course we're going to see that southern migration as we go into fall and winter. But because of that potential late season cold air hanging around the East Coast and the fact that we're heading towards an El Nino pattern by the end of summer, I think the southern plains are going to be the hot spot this year in terms of severe weather. This is good news if you're someone in the Southeast who's tired of being the center of attention on this channel, or if you're a storm chaser. But here's the thing, all of this is very uncertain, and despite your confidence in my forecasting, it's important you understand that this is still going to be a very dangerous year. The total number of tornadoes during any given year has little to do with the impact tornadoes have on communities and individuals. One of the most memorable tornado outbreaks of my lifetime happened in March of 2012, which is the very below average year that we keep referring to. Also, 2013 featured the least amount of tornadoes since 1989. But guess what? On May 31st, 2013, the biggest tornado ever happened in El Reno, Oklahoma. And just a few days before that, on May 20th, one of the strongest tornadoes in recent memory struck Moore, Oklahoma, producing EF5 damage. And we haven't seen an EF5 tornado since, despite having several years with many more tornadoes touching down. So even though I think we're going to see less tornadoes than usual this year, we're still going to see tornado outbreaks. And unfortunately, they will bring about widespread damage and destruction. Just think about it for a second. Even if there was only one tornado for the rest of this year, if that bad boy decided to come down your street, it's going to be a life-changing event for you. But remember, don't be scared, be prepared. If you have storm anxiety, or if you just want to take the next step towards being prepared for this upcoming severe weather season, first of all, subscribe to this channel. Second, get yourself a NOAA weather radio. You know how you have a smoke detector and a carbon monoxide detector in your house? Well, this is like a tornado or severe weather detector. Even when the power's out or the internet's out or you're trying to sleep, this thing is going to wake you up if there's a tornado warning in your area. It'll even do flash flood and other severe weather warnings if you want it to. I always recommend these things, and I actually can't believe that they're not required to be a part of your house, just like a smoke detector or a carbon monoxide detector. But good news, you can get one at Target or Walmart or Walgreens, or you can click the link in the description right now and get one from me. That would be very cool of you. And very soon it will arrive, and you will no longer be scared, but rather be prepared for this upcoming severe weather season. Thank you for watching my video. Huge shout out to my...
Yeah, we went ahead and watched it. Fuck it, why not? Howdy everybody hopping in. Allison, Willow, Ava, the Pink Dahlia, how you doing tonight? Thanks for hopping in. Definitely subbed. I'm excited. That's a cool little podcast. I love the name. I love the background. Sorry about my sinuses tonight, everybody. Oh, I keep blowing my nose. Ooh. All right, so since we had some talk about that that reporter from News Nation getting arrested, I got a video on it, and I apologize. Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube are having technical issues tonight, so if it's acting freaking crazy, but there for a while, I couldn't even see my messages on Twitter. I still think you can't follow people. I'm not sure if they've have it all fixed yet, but Twitter was the one that was heavily affected out of the three. And then YouTube started to have some problems about 10 minutes before I was going live. Pretty neat. But we're here. Where is that? Here we go. News Nation reporter arrested at Ohio governor's news conference. So let me check chat real quick. Oh, it's just these it's sinuses. It's like, I don't know. It's the temps flying all over the place, and then my sinuses just get. It's like hits me in the nose a couple times. I'm like, damn. Yeah, and I guess why don't they have? When don't they? No, I mean these are major issues, Kid Kitty. Like Twitter was almost like it was bad. You couldn't even like see nothing. It was crazy. Well, we got our Alex Murdaugh special tomorrow night. I'm excited for that. Kevin Kraft is going to be on. Kid Kitty's going to hop up, I think. Anybody else would like to join? You're more than welcome. I got a couch that seats 10 people. You're more than welcome. You too. Thank you so much. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. I'm definitely excited to check you out. And I love the names. Vicks Vapor Rub. Yeah? You know what? I do have some in my bathroom cabinet. Maybe I'll grab some of that in a little bit. I think I'm just sounding so stuffy because I've been blowing my nose like crazy trying to get whatever is in there out. All right. News Nation reporter arrested. We'll see. And it's from News Nation, so maybe they have the information on a silver platter. HELL.
We want to get to breaking news that just unfolded at the governor's press conference in Ohio after that evacuation order and chemical hazards order had been lifted. There was that dangerous train derailment just last week. Take a look at this. Our correspondent, Evan Lambert, had been in the middle of his report. He actually had to stop his report live on air because the governor had started speaking and reporters apparently to be quiet. So we had to stop his live report. Well, moments later, he was thrown to the ground by authorities, roughed up. He is handcuffed and arrested. As you're looking at this video now, you can see them speaking to him. But look, there he is. That's our reporter, Evan Lambert. He is on the ground.
Whoa.
He is being put into handcuffs, and now they are taking him out. So he was trying to cover this press conference as it was happening. He was covering it from the back of the room. He was speaking quietly in the middle of rush hour. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine addressed this situation during that press conference. We want to listen to that, but first, let's just watch the rest of this video as it plays out. So obviously, you can see his photographer still with him there. And look, he's being put into the back of a law enforcement vehicle there for doing his job, for being a journalist. Again, we saw him put onto the ground, placed into handcuffs, escorted out of the building while he was reporting on a press conference to alert the people of Ohio.
Okay, hold on. Don't sit there. Number one, don't sit there and say he was doing his job if he was inside an area where he was not supposed to be doing a news conference. Number one. Number two, how in the hell did it escalate to where the dude was roughed up on the floor getting handcuffed? But please don't twist this, news lady. I mean, I get this shit is fucked up. Trust me, I get it. But don't sit there and say he was doing his job if he was in an area he was not supposed to be in, having a news conference when they were already told prior not to do it. Ugh. I want to hear that again. Hold on. I'm going to check it out again. Warm pack on face, Vicks on feet. Huh. Look forward to hanging. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm excited for you guys. I love the name. And you guys are more than welcome to hop up anytime, too. Seriously, if you guys want to ever come up and promote your show or a show you're doing or whatever, please, you're more than welcome. We can even talk about a little bit about what you have for a topic or whatever you guys would want. You're more than welcome. My casa is you casa.
Been lifted. There was that dangerous train derailment just last week. Take a look at this.
That too.
Our correspondent, Evan Lambert, had been in the middle of his report. He actually had to stop his report live on air because the governor had started speaking and they told reporters apparently to be quiet.
See?
So we had to stop.
See? Okay, I'm just saying. Not that that's the reason for what took place, but okay.
His live report. Moments
Don't say
later,
he was doing his job if he was doing something he wasn't supposed to do.
He was thrown to the ground by authorities, roughed up. He is handcuffed and arrested. As you're looking at this video now, you can see them speaking to him. But look, there he is. That's our reporter, Evan Lambert. He is on the ground. He is being put into handcuffs, and now they are taking him out. So he was trying to cover this press conference as it was happening. He was covering it from the back of the room. He was speaking quietly in the middle of rush hour. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine addressed this situation during that press conference. We want to listen to that, but first, let's just watch the rest of this video as it plays out. So obviously, you can see his photographer still with him there. And look, he's being put into the back of a law enforcement vehicle there for doing his job, for being a journalist. Again, we saw him put onto the ground, placed into handcuffs, escorted out of the building while he was reporting on a press conference to alert the people of Ohio in this area of East Palestine, Ohio, whether or not they would be allowed to go back into their home. So this was not a secret. This was the governor speaking. All right, let's listen to what the governor had to say.
What the fuck? Dude's like, his phone. Come on.
It has always been my practice that if I'm doing a press conference, if someone wants to report out there and they want to be talking to the people back on channel, whatever, they have every right to do that.
Right.
So, that should not, if someone was stopped from doing that or told they could not do that, that was wrong. And it was nothing that I authorized, and certainly it would be something that I would not want to see happen. This happens, we do this, I do this all the time. And yeah, so.
And it makes sense not having other people in there while you're doing yours, so there's no distractions of what you're trying to say, whether it's from you or the people that are listening to you. So it's totally understandable. I'm just wondering how it escalated. So yeah, the reporter, was inside. It looked like, here, let me see where we're at, 216. I don't want to keep replaying. All right, so it's like they're in some sort of gymnasium, okay?
Our correspondent, Evan Lambert,
they're in some sort of,
they're
in some sort of gymnasium, okay? And the governor was probably at the stage, and you probably had all the people's, it's a gymnasium, so if somebody's talking, you already know that the sound is going to echo off the walls, okay? So you got the people, then you got him at the stand or whatever. He just simply said, once he starts his press conference, if you're going to do your press conference, then go out that door and do your press conference all up and down the hall or in the room out there or whatever, or even right outside the door. That is just, he said, it's common practice for him and probably a whole bunch of other people that are public speakers, that if you're going to have a press conference, you have it outside of the venue and not inside of the venue, so it doesn't distract the patrons and it doesn't distract the speakers. And so this is what took place. Now, why he got arrested, who knows? Hopefully they'll talk about it
all the time. And certainly it would be something that I would not want to see happen. This happens, we do this, I do this all the time. And yeah, so I'm certainly very, very sorry that happened. I don't know all the facts, but he or she, whoever was arrested, had every right to be reporting and do what they do every single day.
Right.
Absolutely. That's certainly an amendment right there.
Yeah,
so
that's what he said.
Go back.
Like he's saying, look, he is able to report and all that stuff. It's, what if you're playing an NBA game, it's okay if you dribble the ball out of bounds, come back in, right? No, there's perimeters. You got coloring inside the lines.
To this video before we move on from this. So Evan, again, giving his live report.
There's
on
restrictions.
Just happened in our last hour. The governor came to the podium, was apparently going to start speaking, and they asked him to stop. Let's listen to what happens here.
I wonder if he was just throwing a fit.
Yeah, it sounds like that audio has been slowed down. So we can't hear exactly what's being said. That audio is distorted there, but we're going to keep watching this video. Again, this is the first time that I'm seeing it as well. I'm watching it as you're seeing it too, because in a moment, apparently we're going to see him shoved to the ground. We can see him taken out of the actual room. Looks like it was in a gymnasium there. And then law enforcement escorts him out. At this point, he's not yet in handcuffs. But in a moment, apparently we're going to see him. And there he is. Now, Evan Lambert is now on the ground. He has, it looks like, at least two officers on, two other officers standing over him. Let's listen to what happens.
Can someone help me? Yeah, Evan, I'm sorry. Are you serious? Doing a live shot. I got arrested because the guard general literally put his hands on me.
Okay, so we're going to see Evan now placed into that law enforcement vehicle there. As you can see, he was saying he was doing a live shot. Okay, we're going to recue it again. Let's take it back from the top. And again, we're showing you this because Evan is a
Sounds
journalist.
like the
He has
news ladies
absolutely every
laughing.
right to be reporting from a scene. This is a scene that affects that community. This was a national story. There was toxic chemicals spilled there. Let's listen to what happened.
Yeah, that's something serious. And I've wanted to talk about that toxic chemical release in Ohio. I just haven't. Well, you know, we'll get to it. Maybe not tonight. Hopefully Friday night.
Evan asks for help up. You can hear somebody off camera saying, "Evan, I'm sorry," as they ask for
Yeah, I
him
heard that. Evan, I'm sorry.
there.
Is that Dolly?
The guard general literally put his hands on me.
For no
And I asked him not
No, it's on camera.
Who's talking in the background?
Evan, I'm sorry.
She keeps saying, Evan, I'm sorry. Who is that?
What do you want to say to people watching this?
It's tough to do your job in America in 2023, but we'll keep doing it. Yeah, all right. Can someone call next server, please?
I'll call Chris.
I'll take him to your feet. Well, of course, you can see all the journalists there gathering to make sure that they're recording on this. We heard from the governor there, Governor DeWine, even the governor saying he wasn't sure exactly what had happened or what.
There was a train derailment, Kevin Kraft. I can't recall exactly what town or city or whatever. But yeah, there was a train derailment. And then, 2 days ago, they released the toxic chemicals out of it to prevent an explosion. I think it was. Someone put his hands on a reporter and he asked them not to, so they put him down and cuffed him. Okay, what? Ellie just came from... And we're feeling someone put his hands on a reporter. So somebody put their hands on that reporter and then he asked them not to, so they handcuffed him? I don't understand that. I don't know what you mean. You can't train around it. She is Ellie, right? I don't know who it was talking in the back. That's what everybody says about this show, man. They're like, you know what? It's just shit. I didn't even know. It's like we just cover a lot of shit.
By this reporter, who happened to be our reporter, was in fact arrested. We here at News Nation, we are certainly digging into this. We're working on this. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, and I appreciate everybody's information in chat because you guys bring a shit ton, even beyond. All right, I'm going to go to this link from Ava. Thank you for that. This is Governor DeWine's statement, I think. Vinyl chloride is the chemical. Oh my gosh. That sounds very toxic. Vinyl and chloride sounds very toxic. You know, since we're talking about it in chat, I'll go ahead and go to that video next and we'll watch it. But he objected and said, "Don't touch me." That's what got him put to the ground. Oh, so he was telling the LE not to touch him. Governor DeWine did not see the incident take place because his view was blocked by a bank of cameras recording the press conference. However, he did hear a disagreement toward the back of the gymnasium. He was later advised that a reporter who had been giving a live report during the briefing was asked to end the broadcast because the volume of his reporting was perceived to be interfering with the event. Governor DeWine did not request that the reporter stop his live broadcast, nor did he know that the request was being made. As the governor said at the conclusion of today's briefing, he has always respected the media's right to report live before, during, and after his press briefings, and the interruption to the reporter's broadcast should not have taken place. Because the governor did not witness what occurred after the broadcast ended, we cannot provide comment on what led to the reporter's arrest. So he actually says that he's cool with them doing that. No shit. I guess I misunderstood what he was saying when he was talking. It was just a clip. I mean, wow. Thank you, Ava, for that. I appreciate that. That definitely, that's his statement. I think that was his cameraman. He says, call. Man, that's true. Wow, toxic vinyl. What the fuck? Vinyl chlor. What was that shit? Vinyl chloride or something? Vinyl chloride. Is he a badass? I don't know much about him. I don't know much about him. Let's see. We'll look up that train derailment video. Since everybody's talking about it, we might as well. That's interesting, though. I might have one from today. I don't know. Is this it right here? Yep, right here. This is it. News Nation. Final. DeWine is as good at speaking as the president. I don't. Vinyl chloride exposure is associated with an increased risk of a rare form of liver. Oh my gosh. So is this town gonna be like a ghost town now? Because I heard they waited to do this until they got it evacuated. Kevin. Oh shit, dang, that's some badass stuff. They said unknown chemicals on board. Also, they know what was on board, so why say oh? I'm gonna put this information back up there while we watch this. Holy crap. We might check out a couple other videos. I did not know that it was that toxic. Oh my gosh. Look at. So that's before he got arrested, I think. So why do you not have a mask on, dude? Be smart. Who knows what's in the air right now? Whoa, look at that. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. us. Right, but what's the smoke going? Oh gosh, I'm sorry, guys. I thought it was sharing this. I'm sorry.
In Ohio are waiting to return home.
I'm sorry.
With this fiery train derailment. I mean, imagine the landscape when you see this massive wall of fire. Crews on Monday drained the toxic chemicals from those train cars that caused a controlled explosion. Looks like a bomb went off, all in hopes of preventing a larger, deadly explosion. Our Evan Lambert is live with the latest in East Palestine, Ohio, where all of this is taking place. Evan?
Good morning, Adrian. And I just want to explain, we are doing this report from inside the gym of the local high school here in East Palestine. That's because there is a lingering chemical smell outside. We're trying to get answers this morning about whether or not that poses a safety risk to people outside the evacuation zone. But investigators told us that this controlled burn, it went as planned.
Oh, wow.
New drone video shows the moment officials say an explosion prevented an even bigger and more dangerous one at the site of a cargo train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio.
Wait till
it
you
almost
see
looks
the
like
smoke.
what you'd see under a rocket. Orange balls of flames firing up, turning into a black cloud of billowing smoke. Officials engineered the burn for several hours Monday night to release vinyl chloride, which became unstable after tanker cars carrying it derailed Friday night. No one was injured in the derailment, and they called the burn mission a success.
When we were letting them burn, they're consuming the product. And if they're burning and you visibly see that, they're not building pressure because it's venting it off.
So when it's burning, okay. So I get it's toxic in the container, right? What if it's burning? How much of that toxicity goes away? Because it's, I guess it, I don't know. I would have been wearing a mask too. Like, oh my gosh. And then like where the wind's blowing, isn't that down by, I don't know. East Palestine. I'll look it up while we're watching the rest of this video. I'll look it up while we're watching the rest of this video.
The alternative, Norfolk Southern Emergency Management officials say, would have been an uncontrolled blast that could have sent dangerous fumes and shrapnel flying over a mile toward the Pennsylvania state line just miles away. The Environmental Protection Agency says it has not detected elevated levels of chemicals outside the evacuation zone. Those evacuations have left hundreds displaced.
It's just been chaotic, you know, and just having to leave and not being able to go back or have the things you need.
I had everyone call my phone telling me to get the hell out of night. But I told them
and schools here are closed. And just as an example of the scale of this, there is a town about 7 miles away. I passed it coming in the morning. That's Springfield local schools. They also put out an alert saying schools there would be closed out of an abundance of caution because
only 7 miles away.
The possibility that the air quality could be impacted by the lingering effects of those chemicals. We're expecting more updates this morning. Adrian?
Thank you for watching.
Man, my gosh, some less and some more. Oh my gosh. This is East Palestine. Population of 4,761. It makes you wonder how many people are just going to move. 4,761, 20 miles south of Youngstown, Ohio, and 40 miles northwest of Pittsburgh. So this is where it's located. East Palestine's right there. I'm going to keep zooming back. So here's Akron. Palestine is right here. Here's Youngstown. Steubenville is down here. Pittsburgh's right here. East Palestine. So I wonder how many other communities are around here. So you got... Wow, look at all them county roads. Holy crap. So the wind typically blows this way. It goes east. So... I mean, geez, you would think at least these little towns right here. I don't know. I don't know if I could still live there after that. I don't know. I might just pack my shit up. Who knows? Oh my gosh. And it was in that right on the railroad tracks there. Right on the outside of the town. Right on the outside of the town. Does it show railroad tracks if I zoom in? Where's the railroad tracks at? Not showing me any. Maybe if I zoom in. I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter. It's such a small town. No matter where you're at in this town, you're affected because shit. You're just a minute away. You probably could have saw the whole damn thing right there from no matter what location you were in. So maybe right here. Probably along here somewhere. Man, that's so sad. 4,000 population. Some pictures. Little small community. Wow, that looks pretty neat. That looks pretty neat. That's pretty cool looking. Oh, that's a painting. Oh, I thought that was an actual building. Wow. That's a frickin' painting. Wow. I was like, damn, that's a cool building. Huh. Pretty damn good. Yeah, we'll see if there's something else on this. See if there's actually somebody speaking about it. On way to Mountaineer Casino, 58 miles. Yeah, it's right by there. I wonder how big the evac area is and how long they... I'm going to try and hope... I'm going to see if I can find a video that talks about that. I'm going to see if I can find one. I have so many videos. That's 2 days ago. I could have swore I had. Whoa, YouTube's bugging out. It's repeating the same videos again. What the heck? Give me 1 second, guys. I have to... YouTube's still acting crazy here. can't believe you're so close and you didn't. Yeah, that's right. Seriously. What'd you say, 58 miles, Kevin? At least they could have put it over the airwaves. If you have a mask at home, just wear it for the next couple days. I would. I mean, hell, we had to wear it for what, almost 2 years. I think for a couple days it ain't gonna be no thing. We got used to it, unfortunately. Let me see here. I could have swore I had. ABC News has a couple of video from a day ago. Okay, maybe I might have them then. If you have them, excuse me, if you have them, Phantom, if you can send them to me if you haven't already. Let's see. Yeah, there's so many other videos. I just might have to have a long stream this weekend. Huh, I couldn't. Now it's 5 days ago now. I could have swore. Okay, let me go to ABC News. See, let's see. That's such a sad photo too. Okay. Right here. Involving harmful. Ooh. Somebody's talking about it too, I think. And then I'll play whatever you got for me too, Phantom. Thank you. I live in respirators in my shop. I have
evacuation orders while others are being told to shelter in place. This happened after a massive train derailment.
Yeah.
And officials say they had to have this controlled burn of toxic and that it has gone as planned to prevent any type of catastrophic explosion. Now the question is, will air and water quality actually be safe? ABC's News, Alex Brochet joining me now from Ohio with the latest, along with Ohio resident and evacuee Janet Meek. Janet, let me just start with you, if you don't mind. And Alex, thank you for introducing us to Janet. I know you've had a chance to talk to a lot of people since you've been covering this early this morning. Janet, we heard officials warning of this imminent explosion, telling folks like you to evacuate or stay inside. Tell me how you got word of these toxic chemicals, where you were, where you are now, and how are you doing?
We're holding up. We're about 20 miles away.
Freaked out.
Pennsylvania, across the border.
Still.
We were at home. We got home from a basketball game. My daughter cheers in, and we heard the loud explosion. I honestly said, I think a train derailed, and we all kind of just looked outside, didn't see anything. And a few minutes later, I think it was my daughter that came running in and said, there is a huge fire behind, like we thought was the Lake gas station. And then it escalated like minutes. It was just train car. We realized it was a train car, and it was just exploding car after car after car. Of course, everybody was going down to look. Neighbors were coming out. You could smell fumes. At that time, we didn't know. It was toxic. What the fumes were. Then it continued to burn. We stayed indoors. They did come and ask us if we were going to leave. It wasn't an immediate evacuation then. They were just saying you should. So we have pets and just stayed indoors and till the Sunday night. Was that Sunday night? They interrupted the Grammys, and the look of panic on their eyes when they said, "Get out now." We grabbed the 2 dogs and not much more, and we left. Didn't know where to go at first, but there's a hotel that has probably 100 other of us here, and there's also a assistant living. They have the residents from there here too, and we're waiting to know when we can get back.
Whoa.
Wow. So Alex, kind of, bring us up to date.
I want to hear her story again. Oh my gosh, it just caught me off surprise.
Evacuation orders, while others are being told to shelter in place. This happened after a massive train derailment, and officials say they had to have this controlled burn of toxic chemicals.
So that's February 3rd.
And that it has gone as planned to prevent any type of catastrophic explosion. Now the question is, will air and water quality actually be safe? ABC's News' Alex Brochet joining me now from Ohio with the latest.
I gotta hear this lady's story again.
And evacuate Janet Meek. Janet, let me just start with you, if you don't mind, and Alex for introducing us to Janet. I know you've had a chance to talk to a lot of people since you've been covering this early this morning. Janet, we heard officials warning of this imminent explosion, telling folks like you to evacuate or stay inside. Tell me how you got word of these toxic chemicals, where you were, where you are now, and how are you doing?
We're holding up. We're about 20 miles away in Pennsylvania, across the border. We were at home. We had just got home from a basketball game. My daughter cheers in, and we heard the loud explosion. I honestly said, I think a train derailed, and we all kind of just looked outside, didn't see anything. And a few minutes later, I think it was my daughter that came running in and said there is a huge fire behind, like we thought was the Lake gas station. And then it escalated.
Oh my gosh.
Like minutes. It was just train car. We realized it was a train car, and it was just exploding car after car after car.
Exploding car after car after car.
Of course, everybody was going down to look. Neighbors were coming out. You could smell fumes at that time. We didn't know, it was toxic, what the fumes were. Then it continued to burn. We stayed indoors. They did come and ask us if we were going to leave. It wasn't an immediate evacuation then. They were just saying you should. So we have pets and just stayed indoors. And till the Sunday night. Was that Sunday night? They interrupted the Grammys, and the look of panic on their eyes when they said, "Get out now."
Wow.
We grabbed the 2 dogs and not much more, and we left. Didn't know where to go at first, but there's a hotel that has probably 100 other of us here, and there's also a assistant living. They have the residents from there here too, and we're waiting to know when we can get back.
My gosh.
Wow. So Alex, kind of
Good to
bring
see
us
you.
up
Thank
to
you for
date.
hopping in, everybody.
How did we finally hear about this? And then maybe you can explain to viewers the reason why they had to have this controlled burn of chemicals, because there were dangerous chemicals also within these parts of the train. And so they were trying to prevent any type of additional explosions. I know law enforcement was going door to door telling people what was going on. A lot has happened in the past, 24 to 48 hours.
That's right, Kira. A lot has happened. Now, listen, I got a chance to talk with Governor Mike DeWine yesterday, and he mentioned that ahead of this, what they call a controlled release of these chemicals, this vinyl chloride, he said that listen, there wasn't a good option here, but this was certainly the lesser of the two evils. And the reason that he said that, and a lot of the folks from Norfolk Southern said that, is because by setting these charges, they were in control of the way these fumes would go up and dissipate into the atmosphere. Had they kind of let things just continue on, these tankers were likely going to explode, but there was no way for them to control where these toxic fumes were going to go, and it could impact a larger swath of people.
So, Janet, any idea when you're going to be able to get back to work or leave the house? The family just getting life back to normal.
Who knows?
They are doing news conferences, but it's very far and few between. There was supposed to be one at 1 today, I believe. National Guard is still everywhere. I've heard from friends that they were trying to get back just to check on their houses. We're only about a few blocks away from where that explosion and the release of everything was going on. So they're saying no damages to the homes. We left the cats there. But they're not saying when we can get back. I've heard a few friends saying that if you're outside that 1 mile radius, you're able to get around, but we're still in that red zone.
You took the dogs but left the cats?
Even get in.
So, Alex, any idea when, you'll know if the air is okay to breathe, when folks can just continue on with their daily life?
Well, Kira, it's kind of a wait and see game. And actually, there's a going on at local high schools here where they're giving updates. But the last thing that we heard before this hit was that they're going to continue to monitor both the air and water right now. And they've had reports of smells of chemicals. They say they've been vigilant in checking those out so far. Yes, people have smelled things, but it's not anything that's harmful for folks to breathe in the surrounding towns. But again, as I spoke with the Emergency Management Agency yesterday, this is going to be a long-term thing. They're going to have to continue to monitor in the coming days and likely weeks just to make sure that things are safe before folks are actually able to return home.
How do you know?
All right. Well, Janet, we'll keep in touch with you. Alex, keep us updated. Alex just moved to Ohio, by the way, where the news seems to follow him everywhere. There you go. You're now broken into your new home state. All right, Janet, we'll talk. Alex, thank you.
That's messed up. Manifest destiny, lady. All right, ABC News. Was there another one? I mean, we pretty much got a gist from that one. Thank you, Allison. Oh, I appreciate that. Let me see if we got anything else on it. After train derailment goes as planned. All right, this is just a 2-minute press conference. We'll check this out real quick and we'll switch topics after this. Oh.
We're going to get the latest now on the train derailment in Ohio working.
Let me see. Let me go ahead and click that link. Let's see. We'll go ahead and use Phantom's link. Thank you.
We're going to get the latest now on the train derailment in Ohio where control of the has done as planned. Alex Fresh is on the scene in Ohio. Good morning, Alex.
Hey, George. Yes, state and rail officials are calling yesterday's controlled release a success, but now it's a waiting game as evacuees wonder when they can return home.
Yeah, when can you?
A cloud of uncertainty in eastern Ohio.
It's basically a mushroom cloud. There's really no other way to describe it.
This giant plume of smoke and fire erupting into the sky Monday afternoon in a controlled release, burning for hours with hazardous material. It prompted evacuations in Ohio and Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
It was alarming
I hope.
see the big fire. But I want to reassure Pennsylvanians that the process is proceeding as planned.
How do you know?
5 of the 50 derailed cars were filled with vinyl chloride.
Oh my gosh, did you see that shit?
The chemical can cause vomiting and is associated with the chemical can cause vomiting and is a 50 derailed car.
Look at that shit. It's yellow. That shit is yellow. Oh,
Cars were filled with vinyl chloride.
Look at that shit.
It's toxic and extremely flammable. The chemical can cause vomiting and is associated with an increased risk of liver cancer and other cancers.
What is vinyl chloride used for? Yeah, exactly. Long term for the people living there. That's why I'm saying I bet you there's a lot of people that move. Because I'd be like, fuck that. I'm just going to go move an hour away. Or go move somewhere I always wanted to move to. Instead of 30, 40 years down the road going, shit, I wish I would've. Hell no. Live life with no regrets. So you don't have to say, I wish I would've. I don't know what kind of wildlife is. I'm wondering, like, man. I'm wondering, what is vinyl chloride used for? Because I guarantee there's going to be a shortage in that now.
You're dealing with the smell.
That was a
of
lot.
Chemicals.
The odor was very strong, even over a mile away.
Rail operator Norfolk Southern saying their plan was completed successfully, draining the chemicals into a trench.
Inside that trench will be flares lining that trench that then will light off the material.
Ohio's governor telling me this was the least harmful option.
Oh boy.
This is the choice that will save lives.
Ohio's emergency management agency telling ABC they don't believe there's a threat to the water or air, but they'll continue to test both in the coming days
How
and
do you
weeks.
not think there's a threat?
And Michael, there's still a lot of smells here: propane, sulfur, chlorine. So just out of an abundance of caution, our crew actually moved one town over to Waterford. Still a lot of worry. Michael?
They should be allocated caution. You know, proceeding with caution is important. Thank you for that.
Sounds like a bunch of BS. People just trying to say, it's okay. It's chiefly used to produce the polymer chloride. Thank you for subscribing, Alexandria Moore. Kib Kitty, when did you fall? Yeah, when did you fall, Kib Kitty? We didn't hear about that. Did you have a nice day off besides that? Working on siding today, my foot got caught in a vine and down at... Oh my gosh. Oh. Ouch. Thank you for that, Phantom. Man. That yellow smoke pouring out of there was crazy. All right, I'm going to see what we have on the break-in, see if there's anything that's just coming out, and then we're going to go get into some of these other topics here. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you for the new sub. And it looks like... Oh, Russell Westbrook got traded. Okay. This one just came out 11 minutes ago. It's about the Murdaugh trial. We'll go ahead and start talking about that next. Let me see. I'm not really seeing anything else on the break-in. 30 minutes ago. Yeah, okay, we're good. All right, we're going to go to this video here, and then we're going to start talking about Murdaugh a little bit.
Today's a big day for Murdaugh. You say there are a couple of different ways to look at it. I need help. Somebody who worked at his firm, and they are talking about how they were trying to put their arms around him and protect him when they heard about these kinds of. And the prosecution argues this is why he killed wife and son, because he thought them badly that he was doing of firm funds. Do I have it right? And why is that compelling?
You do have it right. Obviously, the past 2 days, the state ordered the code red, and they brought in their home run witnesses. Ronnie Crosby yesterday, who was Alex's partner, who said that he lied in terms of taking a nap and not being at the kennels. And today they brought in a very compelling paralegal, Annette Griswold, who really gave the state the motive that, now, whether it's good enough, I'm not going to say. But she said that the firm stopped the investigation of the theft, and they put their arms around Alex, as you said, and she acted, she said, as a mama bear for both Alex and his brother Randy, because they thought that they were in danger and that there was a shooter out there that was trying to take out the family.
All right.
So that's the state's motive. They've proven in the past 2 days that Alex lied, the thief. Now they have to create the linkage.
Right. So let's play a little bit of what happened. Let's play a little bit of tape, and then we'll talk about it.
We were very protective over Alec and Randy. We wouldn't let them leave the office if strange cars were driving around. We would say, don't walk out yet. Car that's went around 3 times. I mean, we were in complete mama bear mode.
Were you at all concerned about finding out what happened with these Ferris fees after that happened?
What Ferris fees?
What Ferris?
Whoa.
Yeah, what Ferris fees? And that was the furthest thing on my mind.
And so, Sarah Azari, when the jury hears this and they go back into the room and they have to wrestle with this, you know, who kills their own, let alone, you know, blows their son's head off. Well, he was just trying to duck investigation from stealing that money. Does that worry the defense team?
No, I think, look, if you ask Eric, every day is a great day in this courtroom for the prosecution, but I don't think that's really how it's going. A lot of this is helping the defense. Number one, Chris, this prosecution team is confusing this jury. And when you confuse a jury, you lose the jury and it benefits the defense. They're doing that throughout with the witnesses. And actually, this idea that the firm was so concerned and went into mama bear mode, how is he going to know that that's how they're going to react after? It comes after the murders. So again, I think it's still such a great stretch, and this jury's probably questioning, what are we here for? Murder or fraud? What's happening with all this, you know, sophisticated fraudulent schemes that we're hearing about? They're really losing the jury.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com.
Ooh, see, that's why I like why they give me a little heads up, because I'm sitting here doing my in-between while I'm doing my videos, and bam, it snuck up on me. I know I was explaining to some people a couple days ago exactly during each video what I do in the background when a video pops off, and how these short videos always come back and haunt me because I'm in between doing something, and all of a sudden it stops. There's no warning. All right, so we started the Murdaugh topic. Again, anybody, you're more than welcome to call 1-812-250-8484, or you can hop up on panel if you'd like. There's a link to the panel, and I'm going to go ahead and get into the next Murdaugh video. Let's see, we already got that one. Let's see, where is the next? Yeah, we got into her last night. Cherry. We talked a little bit about her towards the end there. Very crazy case. We probably talked for a good 45 about it, maybe a little longer. Alleged killer claim speaks from hospital. Those are two topics I wanted to talk about tonight, so I'm just going to get them both with this video, because I haven't even touched. We touched the Lindsay Clancy case for one night a few nights ago, and I haven't been able to get back to it. So we're going to go ahead and watch this Law and Crime Network video that talks about both. I appreciate that. I clicked on that but can't go. Oh, okay. Sorry. I'll have to recheck the the
Welcome,
link.
everybody, to Long Crime Daily. I'm Jesse Weber, and thanks for joining us. The trial of Alec Murdaugh, the now disgraced former attorney charged with killing his wife and son, is likely to stretch on much longer. And that is because the jury is now hearing testimony about Murdaugh's apparent corruption. On Tuesday, jurors heard for the first time about Murdaugh's finances leading up to June 7th. That's when. Welcome, everybody, to Long Crime Daily. I'm Jesse Weber, and thanks for joining us. The trial of Alec Murdaugh, the now disgraced former attorney charged with killing his wife and son, is likely to stretch on much longer. And that is because the jury is now hearing testimony about Murdaugh's apparent corruption. On Tuesday, jurors heard for the first time
YouTube is acting nuts today. I don't know what's going on with Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter.
His wife Maggie and son Paul to distract from his alleged misdeeds. Now, typically, testimony like this wouldn't be allowed in because Murdaugh is only charged with fraud. He hasn't been convicted of it. But here, the judge determined that the state could bring it in because it is so closely intertwined with other things going on in Murdaugh's life in the summer of 2021. Lawyers are now indicating that the jury will need to hear the same testimony that the judge and court watchers already heard. The trial is going to last at least another week. Now, some of the most damning witnesses
Thank you, Cherry
worked alongside Murdaugh at his law firm. In fact, when prosecutors asked a former colleague who had known Murdaugh for decades what he was like, well, this is what she had to say.
What were your observations of him as a lawyer?
I think Alec was successful more not from his work ethic, but from his ability to establish relationships and to manipulate people into settlements and clients into liking him. So he did it through the art of bull, basically.
Wow. Is that really needed in court?
Did he, in your estimation, in your judgment, was he more of a technical type lawyer, or was he one that really understood how?
Come on, you could have said BS.
He would use the emotion of a case and the emotion of his clients.
No mincing words there. I'm joined by my co-hosts, legal experts, public defender Brian Buckmeyer, former trial attorney Terry Austin. Brian, it seems like it is one bombshell after another in this trial so far. You think the defense is going to put on a case? What would that case even look like from the defense?
Well, Jesse, first, I thought the art of BS was a good thing for a defense attorney, but I guess it's bad. But the defense is going to have to counteract that. Don't forget, in opening statements, they came out saying that Alec is a good guy. He loves his family. He loves his wife. He loves his son.
I mean,
now
I
these
get
financial
it.
crimes and some of the background
You're
information that we're
disrespecting the
seeing
court.
here, they're going to have to contradict that in the case. It's another battle, another front that they're going to have to push.
I don't know.
back on
I
the
just
prosecution.
I just felt like it was disrespecting the court because it's one thing if you're like repeating bullshit to like a statement from like a crime or something, but as a personal opinion of something and then you use that word in court, I don't know. It just seems tasteless to me.
Narrative. I'm expecting them to get
It just seems
witnesses
tacky.
who actually liked him, who said that he was a good guy, said he was generous, trying to create this facade or this image.
A witness,
He's not
Cherry
the type of
Cherry.
person to commit this crime, because while the prosecution will bring in the financial crimes, they still can hang their hat on this is not the type of person he is, but they've got to prove it.
Well, what about, Terry, how the defense did on a cross-examination of the CFO? Did they make any points at all?
Well, they made some minor points, but I have to say, second jury was definitely on point. And as you saw during that clip, she did not mince any words. But I think the cross-examination made a couple little points. He started out by saying, look, there are all these frauds, but those are going to be separately tried in other criminal courts. And she had to admit, yes, that's the case. And he did state that the murder occurred June 7th. And when she started investigating everything, she basically waited until September to do all of the thorough investigation of those crimes. Why did she wait so long? He implied that something was amiss at that point. And then she found that in 2011, all of these misdeeds happened and nobody caught any of it. So he was trying to imply that the firm was allowing it to occur.
All right, it's an argument. Look, we're going to continue to follow this Murdaugh trial. Bombshell development every day. A lot to cover there. Welcome back, everybody. A Massachusetts mother was arraigned on murder charges Tuesday from her hospital bed. Lindsay Clancy may have been suffering from postpartum psychosis when she allegedly strangled her children. Her 5-year-old daughter and 3-year-old son died the night of the attack, while the 7-month-old died a few days later at a hospital. Clancy's husband, Patrick, says that he'd been working from home to help out, but went to pick up food. And when he got home, he found her outside, apparently after she jumped from a second-story window in an attempt to die by suicide.
Wow.
During Tuesday's hearing, the judge decided not to set a monetary bail, saying Clancy is a minimal flight risk. The prosecutor walked the court through what 911 dispatchers heard when Patrick found the children in the basement.
Oh my gosh.
He can then be heard screaming in agony and shock as he found his children. Screams seem to get louder and more agonized as the time passes. Cora and Callan were on the floor in the den area of the finished basement, which is to the left when you walk down the stairs, while Dawson was alone on the floor in his father's home office, which is to the right when you go down the stairs. Each child still had the exercise bands that was used to strangle them tied around their necks when their father found them. Dawson and Callan were face down on the floor. Cora was on her side with her torso turned towards the floor. He removed the bands and begged them to breathe. He continued to scream uncontrollably and scream for officers to come to the basement. The dispatchers are hearing this and they send help down to the basement. And when they encounter Patrick, he yells out, "She killed the kid."
Oh my gosh.
Awful. Brian, how can Clancy be arraigned though, if the attorney believes she may have postpartum depression or psychosis?
So Jesse, there's a slight difference between the competency to progress through the criminal case and a potential insanity defense. Competency just says, do you understand who your lawyer is and what's going on in the case? That doesn't seem to be the question here. What they're probably going to do with Clancy is going to evaluate her to see if at one point in time, specifically at the time of these charges or crimes, was she suffering from probably postpartum psychosis? Depression might not give them what they want, but postpartum psychosis could help in explaining or mitigating the allegations against her.
Well, Terry, Lindsay was prescribed multiple medications, which apparently affected her mood or behavior. You think the physician has any criminal or legal or civil exposure?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this kind of thing happen in the past where a doctor prescribes a patient too much of a particular medication. And here the husband actually said to the doctors, look, she's acting like a zombie. And if in fact, for medical malpractice, the physician did not go by the standards of that practice area, then it could be medical malpractice, it could be negligence if he caused the injury. And if that medicine caused the injury to the patient and she injured herself, and clearly she did here, and her children, there could be some viable claim against the physician.
Just a horrible, horrible, horrible story to think about. And now the question is, how did this happen? So it's something that we'll continue to monitor. Well, there's another case on our radar out of Broward County, Florida, we want to talk about. 3 men began trial on Tuesday in the 20.
Okay, now we're going to switch. We're going to stick on this topic. We're going to go back to this News Nation video of the Murdaugh trial. Testimony centers on his presence at the crime scene. Yes, so damn sad. Oh my gosh. I can't imagine being the husband. Clancy's doctor said she did not have postpartum depression. We're going to go to this Murdaugh here.
I want to bring in attorney Rachel Fizet now. She's been following the trial since the beginning with us. It is often described, Rachel, as kind of a tennis match. And as I watch it, I'm really glad I'm not in the jury's position because I go back and forth. It feels like at one point the prosecution hits a slam dunk and then the defense steps up and serves an ace. And you're left wondering, did he do it? Was there motive? It's a really complicated case. Who do you think is owning the narrative right now?
Right now, I would say it's mixed, that everybody is doing their job. The prosecution is putting forth evidence that makes you really ponder whether he didn't do it. It's very convincing evidence. It provides a motive. It provides evidence of gun residue. They're putting forth a lot of issues for the jury to think about. And as you said, the defense is doing their job and they are popping up and they were poking holes in the stories that the prosecution is telling, which all they have to do is give rise to reasonable doubt to that jury.
Let's talk about some of the prosecution's tactics here. And in the last 24 hours, we've heard for a third time a friend of Alec Murdaugh listen to the Snapchat video that was taken the night of the murders by his son, Paul. And his friend, a third friend, someone who knows Alec Murdaugh very well, said, I'm 100% sure that I hear Alec's voice on that Snapchat video, which the prosecutors say puts him at the crime scene within minutes of the murder, a place he said he wasn't. He said he was at his mom's. The second lie that prosecutors say they've caught him in is the caretaker for his mom. That night, he went and visited his mom. She said he was there 15 or 20 minutes, got a call days later. Alec tells the caretaker, according to her witness testimony, he said, tell people I was there 30 to 40 minutes. So asking her days afterwards to change her story. How big of an issue is this for the defense to combat?
These are big issues, and I do think they are doing their job in combating them. However, these are issues that the jury are going to take back at the end of the trial and really walk through step by step. The fact that people continually are identifying his voice on that Snapchat video, that's a big deal, because that is a big lie. Even if he is not the murderer in some of the jury's minds, the fact that he is then lying about where he was, even if they are finding other holes in the prosecution's case, may in the end lead the day and convince them that he should be convicted. As for the other testimony regarding the time and the lie he asked her to tell, it's a little subtler than that, because it also seems like he's suggesting that he would pay her. I think those are big deals, but her testimony was mixed, because on cross she seemed to concede that he was a guy, and she gave up a bit of what the prosecution had gained in her cross-exam.
Right, and it's back to an by the defense. So after Alec's friend identified him saying that's 100% his voice on that Snapchat video, the defense steps up and says, so I want to be clear, the night of the murders, you were there to console and support your friend. You were there the day after. You were walking around the crime scene. The defense puts him within the crime scene, anticipating he's going to clean up some of the murder matter from the night before. This is a problem for the prosecution, is it not? That the crime scene wasn't secure, that you've got a friend walking around where two murders were committed less than 10 hours prior.
Absolutely. We are definitely going to have problems. The prosecution has problems in the way that the investigation was conducted. We're in a very small town, in your town, and these issues are, and the defense is doing a really good job to the jury. So there's a few things with that testimony. One, not a secure crime scene. Two, a friend walking around. And three, if he thought that his friend had done it, would he really have been doing all of that? And I know in real time, he may not have had the evidence to think his friend was there at the crime scene, but it does raise question as to what his friends are thinking at that time.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider.
And thank you for the heads up, News Nation. We're going to switch to another topic now. I don't want to get into too much Alec Murdaugh, because we're going to be having our special tomorrow night, where we're going to be talking all Murdaugh. We're going to switch to a video on Nicola Bulley, unanswered questions, crime scene to courtroom. We found out today that the diver did not find any signs. And we read what he was saying yesterday. If he couldn't find anything, then he's leaning on possible abduction, in his opinion. So they did not find anything in the river. No signs.
The search for
missing mum bully now entered its 12th day with still no real clues as to what has happened to the mother of two. Despite extensive searches of the river and surrounding area, no trace of the 45-year-old who was last seen walking her dog after the school run has been discovered. Her phone was left on a bench near the River Wyre in Lancashire, and her dog Willow was found nearby. Police officers said they are working on the theory that the 45-year-old, who has been described by friends as a strong swimmer, fell into the river. But that line of investigation has been questioned by friends and family. Lancashire Police has consistently said there are no signs of any third-party involvement in her disappearance. The mortgagor was last seen while walking Willow on Friday, January the 27th in the Lancashire village of St Michael's on Wyre. Nicola, known as Nikki, left her daughters aged 6 and 9 at school before heading to the towpath overlooking the River Wyre. A specialist water search team has been working on the river for the last 2 days, with expert Peter Faulding saying a number of things don't add up. Here are some of the unanswered questions.
Everything
Number one,
doesn't add
the
up.
lack of CCTV.
Yep.
There were images of Nicola shared from her own doorbell camera that showed her packing up the car ready for the school run, but there is a lack of CCTV from the towpath area. The CCTV camera at a residential park on the upper field of the path had one camera not working. If it had been working, it would likely have been able to pick up what happened around the bench. Superintendent Sally Riley says, several exits of the Riverside area have CCTV covering them, or exits are locked, and therefore couldn't have been passed through by Nicola. Lane toward the A586, which is not covered by CCTV. And that's why we're appealing today for dashcam footage, or for people who may have been walking on Garstang Lane or driving in the area to come forward if they can. Question number 2. The 10 minutes not accounted for. Lancashire Police has said there are 10 minutes they cannot account for between the last sighting of Nicola at 9:10 a.m. and 9:20 when Nicola's phone was found on a bench still connected to the work call she was on. Question 3. Why no one saw any? Police have revealed that more than 700 drivers are being approached in the hope they can offer clues in the search. Police are speaking to hundreds who travelled through the town of St Michael's on Wyre around the time that Nicola went missing. A team of 40 detectives are currently investigating approximately 500 different lines of inquiry. At a press conference, Lancashire Police Superintendent Sally Riley said, "We have now identified around 700 vehicles that drove through the village on that morning on the 27th of January at around 9:10 to 9:15 a.m. We are in the process of speaking to all of those drivers to try to find out if they have any dashcam footage, what they saw on that day, or anything else that may be of value to the police inquiry." Point number 4. The question over the river. According to forensic search expert Peter Faulding, the part of the river where Nicola was last seen is not fast moving. He has described it as, quote, black murky water that can be difficult to see in. He told the Blackpool Gazette, "It's not a fast tidal river. It's around 2 or 3 metres deep, but there are a lot of shallows." Mr. Faulding said he would have to check for any drains in the riverbed while rechecking all areas already probed by police. Adding, quote, "You can search one day and the body can move down from another location, so everything has got to be rechecked." Superintendent Sally Riley, who is leading the investigation, described the river as a complex area to search. She told a press conference on Tuesday, "It is not a still water, it is a fast-flowing, moving water which is tidal in parts. This makes it particularly complex. We have already discounted particular areas of the river, but as they are tidal, we have researched them to make sure that nothing has been washed back into those search areas. We have 6 people searching the riverbanks every day. These are specially trained search officers who are systematically, methodically searching the riverbank and open ground." Question number 5. Why the area around the bench has not been cordoned off. Police reconfirmed on Tuesday that their belief remains that, quote, "Nicola sadly fell into the river, and this is a missing person inquiry." Superintendent Riley said,
we believe Nicola remained in the Riverside area. She added that the search was being extended out to the sea due to the nature of the river. Question number 6. Why the phone was left on a bench? When Nicola's phone was found on a bench near to where she was last seen, it was still dialed into a work call and was alongside her dog Willow's harness. Some people have suggested that she left it there to deal with something with the aim of coming back to it once it was over. Mr. Fording did say that the phone may have been left behind as a decoy by a third party involved in the disappearance. This comes after he noted that had she fallen in the water, her dog Willow, who was found at the scene, would have caused a disturbance. Okay, so yesterday I watched the most recent press conference, which was held by Lancashire Police and conducted by Superintendent Sally Riley, with the latest developments on the missing mother of two, Nicola Bulley. And what are my takeaways from that particular press conference? Well, it really does appear here that they are doubling down, tripling down on the case that Nicola Bulley fell into the river. They did mention that they are currently looking at 500 lines of inquiry, and they're currently looking for 700 motorists who would have passed a certain entry and exit point on her walk, and they've sent letters out to those drivers to try and obtain statements or dash cam footage from their vehicles.
You know,
my
it's so
biggest
sad.
concern at this point,
It's so sad that they didn't, tape up the area, did more of a thorough search, to just assume that she went in the river and and then move on from there. I just you have to explore all possibilities. It's all fishy.
point in time is when we have Sally Riley
So
appearing in these
sketch.
press conferences and using phrases such as, "We sadly believe that Nicola fell into the water," but then on the other hand, in another sentence, also saying, "We've identified 700 drivers who drove past an area which is not covered by CCTV." And the key word there is, we have identified.
700.
Identified. They haven't gone through all of these 700 drivers. They haven't checked all of the dash cam footage from these
700.
individuals. They haven't spoken with all of these individuals. They have identified 700 vehicles of interest in which they wish to then, investigate further. So
Good night,
this is a
Kip
line
Kitty.
of inquiry.
Thank you for hanging out. Honestly, I don't know. I think the phone was left there on purpose.
Which has not been sealed off at this point in time. So how can you really say?
I felt that way since the beginning of it. It just doesn't. She's not going to leave her phone on the bench, even if she gets up and walks somewhere, especially if she's in a meeting. She's not going to do it.
For certain that this lady fell into the water. I don't understand that. I do not understand what information they
Hope
could
you feel
possibly
better, Kid
have
Kitty.
to suggest she fell into that water. Bearing in mind, we're coming up to now nearly 2 weeks. 2 weeks since Nicola Bulley went missing.
2 weeks.
The feeling I also got from the press conference yesterday was that speculation outside of the investigation, as in online or anywhere else, is not required. Don't speculate online. Speculation isn't helpful. Don't think outside the box here. We believe she's in the river. We've got information to suggest that she's in the river that we're not going to share with you, and that's the end of it. Stop your speculating. Don't think of alternatives. We believe she's in the river. That's pretty much what I took from that press conference yesterday. My issue with that, however, is the fact that, as I said earlier, we're now nearing almost 2 weeks since this lady went missing. We're also looking at an investigation which, in my mind, seems to have been working backwards in some weird way. They've had a report of a missing woman. They've attended this scene. I'm not going to say scene of the crime because we don't know that at this point in time. But they've approached the scene where they believe that this lady went missing. Have they just seen these items on the bench, the phone, the harness nearby, and they've concluded, okay, she's fallen into the river? I mean, is that literally what has happened here? And they're doubling down, tripling down on this idea because it's how the investigation took off in the first place, which has ultimately decided its continual path, shall we say? Because usually you would attend the scene of the crime or this scene of a potential crime and you would take all necessary precautions. Why was this area not cordoned off in order to preserve potential evidence? It's also apparent at this point in time that the police have still not released any, and I mean any, CCTV footage of Nicola Bulley. I mean, do they even have any at this point in time?
What's up, punks?
I mean, I know they released some still photographs, which I don't even think the police released. These were released by the friends of Nicola Bulley from the doorbell camera. Those still photographs that you've seen online, they are from the doorbell camera. They're not CCTV from the police. The police have not released anything officially regarding CCTV. I mean, surely they must have some CCTV of Nicola Bulley, either approaching her walk or leaving the school. But we've had nothing, which is really strange in a case like this in this country. Usually you get a multitude of different CCTV angles plastered in newspapers and on TV reports. We've had absolutely nothing from the police.
Nothing.
In terms of CCTV surveillance.
There's nothing.
I also found it quite interesting last night when Peter Fording
Yes, he's going to talk about it.
appeared on TV and talked about the search for Nicola Bulley, and also the fact that he stated that he hadn't been given all of the information from the police concerning what they know about Nicola's disappearance, which I do find quite strange. And even Peter Fording himself said, usually when we work with the police, we have all of the information. Obviously, we can do a better job if we are in receipt of all the information that the police actually have. But they, by all accounts, haven't shared all of the information with this individual. I'm just going to read for you a very short newspaper article which has been released in the last couple of hours concerning what I've just spoken about there, and it states the following. Police say diving expert in Nicola Bulley search does not know all details of their investigation as he hits back at critics accusing him of ulterior motive, and vigilantes are told to stop breaking into properties looking for missing mother. The diving expert called in to help find Nicola Bulley does not know all of the details of the case, police have insisted, after he repeatedly spoke of a theory regarding a third-party involvement in her disappearance. Peter Fording, International SGI, told several news outlets that he does not believe mother of two is in the River Wyre, despite it remaining the working theory of Lancashire police. Nicola vanished while walking her dog Willow along the riverbed on January the 27th, moments after dropping her two children off at school. She was last seen at 9:10 a.m. by a fellow dog walker, before her phone and her pup's harness were found on a bench nearby at 9:20 a.m. and the alarm was raised. It is during this 10-minute window that police maintain she fell into the water, while others, including some friends and Mr. Fording, have their doubts, which they have not hesitated to share. It comes as amateur detectives and vigilantes have been told to stop meddling in the case or face arrest.
Oh,
with
wow.
some breaking into properties in a desperate bid to crack one of the biggest mysteries in recent memory. In a sign of tensions between police and Mr. Fording, Police Superintendent Sally Riley last night stressed that he was not party to all the details of their wider investigation. She said, quote, "Our search has not found Nicola in the river, and then a research in part by SGI has found the same. That does not mean that Nicola has not been in the river. In the light of other inquiries being discounted from the investigation so far, clearly our main belief is that Nicola did fall into the river. Clearly Mr. Fording isn't included within all the investigation detail any more than the members of the public are that I'm briefing through these sorts of press conferences." Mr. Fording later demanded that he be granted such access, adding, quote, "If there's any more facts that we don't know about, normally we work alongside of the police, and if you haven't got the facts, then you can't conduct a proper search. It is very difficult without that information. Normally, I'm privy to that information. It would be useful to know." It comes as police have extended the search for Nicola towards the sea, after still finding no concrete evidence she
Towards
fell
the
into the
sea?
river. While a friend of the family, Heather Gibbons, was among the growing number to question their theory. It's natural for everyone to have speculation, Because the truth is, in this, nothing is making sense.
Nothing.
Anyway, please leave your own thoughts and theories.
Nothing is making sense in that case. Absolutely nothing. I appreciate that rundown from crime scene to courtroom. We're going to go to a mind shock video, a little something about Delphi. It was an interesting video that came up a couple days ago. And it had mentioned something about, was there a witness? And I thought, there was witnesses all over the place. So I kind of want to check it out and check it out with you guys, because I thought there was a whole, not to the crime, but I mean, is that what this, maybe that's what it's about? I don't know. It just, the title seemed very odd to me. Was there a witness? So here's Mind Shock. Put the link to the channel in the chat. Whoa. Whoa. Oh, it's still going. Whoa.
There's another bit of info here that was recently posted by Bella XO on the Libby and Abby subreddit as well. Interesting post from 5 years ago, hiding in plain sight.
5 years ago.
So this was posted by You to Kill Me. The letter U, the number 2, kill me.
What?
5 years ago. And this, the title of this post, this was posted in the Delphi murder subreddit. The title is In Plain Sight. I stumbled across this live feed after the girls were found, but not identified yet. It was a person saying they were there when the girls were attacked. He said he didn't do anything to stop it because he was a kid too and was afraid the same thing would happen to him. He was not from Delphi.
What?
The killer had picked him up and they drove at least an hour before arriving at a huge farm. He did not know where he was, but he said he needed to get out of there because the bodies were found and the place was going to be crawling with cops.
What?
He said this person who did this would never be caught because no one would think he was capable, but he is. Said the guy would be hiding in plain sight. I have not been able to find the thread again. It has been deleted. I contacted the investigators and the FBI early on and told them what I found. No one has contacted me or ever brought this up again. What do you think? Hoax ? Maybe the kid ended up missing too? Anyone else heard anything like this? So I actually have not seen this posted anywhere or heard of this. So this is this is pretty crazy.
Wow.
Some responses here. This was the first time when Carter said at the press conference, this person has posted this on Facebook right after the murders.
What?
I always wondered if that's why the age dropped to 18 years old. If possible, if so, possibly that the young bridge guy sketch was the lookout. So this was a conversation February 15th, 2017. And this post used the term in plain sight before the 2019 press conference when Doug Carter used that phrase.
Wow.
Now, there is corroboration here from other posters. I've searched this for ages. I've read the sort of conversation-like form at the time, but haven't been able to find it back. I had forgotten about it, but it came back into my mind when Keegan Anthony Klein came into the picture. But only later on, after hearing and reading him. The childish-like way of expressing themselves seemingly triggered my memory, but geez, I'd like to find the original convo back.
Punksy, it's not the app. It's Instagram, Twitter, YouTube has all been having technical issues today. I still can't follow any new people on Twitter. I can't check my messages. But that's just all across. Most people are affected by that. I ended up starting the stream late today because YouTube wasn't linking. I couldn't get my YouTube to link with StreamYard because YouTube's home. It was just crazy. It was just crazy.
So someone posted this from the user to kill me also. It was about the same time they had found the info but hadn't identified them yet.
Here's the link to this
live
video.
In Las Vegas and didn't know much about the case, so when I stumbled across this feed, I didn't really know what I was looking at. My original search was for Liberty Tax Service. The person had been talking to a woman and a man in this feed. He was talking about the girls and how the guy attacked them. Someone asked him, why didn't you do something? He said, because I'm just a kid too. I was afraid the same thing would happen to me.
Wow.
Then it was mentioned that the bodies were found, and the kid says, I gotta get out of here. This place is going to be crawling with cops. One of the others asked where he was, and he didn't know. He said he had just met the guy, and they drove for about an hour before they arrived at his location, which was kind of a farm. So is this guy hitchhiking? Is
What?
this the hitchhiker? Is this where all those hitchhiking rumors came from?
What?
He wouldn't give info on the guy's name or his own. Honestly, he seemed like he was impressed by the way the guy controlled the girls. Like he said something like, that guy was awesome. I wish I had paid more attention, but like I said, I was unaware of its importance until later. And when I tried to find the feed, it was gone. The only other thing the kid said that stands out clearly is that he hadn't been home in a couple of days and wondered if anyone was looking for him. He figured the guy had used him to gain the girl's trust because he is a kid. And he said, they're never going to catch this guy. No one would even think he was capable or able to do what he did.
Whoa.
But he is. He will be hiding in plain sight.
Whoa.
I did talk to the FBI and reported it early on, within 2 weeks of the murder. It took me a minute to decide if it was worth reporting. Like you, I don't know if this was a hoax. I gave them the info and figured they would decide. So this is really, really crazy. So is this... what's the context though? I mean, this guy, is this a hitchhiking situation? And he didn't, why would a killer pick up a guy, they go hitchhike? Is this
Right,
just a
this is
partial
so
story
weird.
and he really didn't want to tell the truth about their relationship or any prior history because he was involved in other criminal activity?
Good.
But it sounds like he really didn't know that the killer would actually kill them. I mean, that's what it seems like reading this second or third hand account of the conversation, which obviously there's no actual link to it. But that's the first thing, the impression that I get from it. And apparently, when they were first found, it was stated that 2 female teens were found, but they weren't identified immediately. Also, is this related to Ron Logan calling for an alibi for the specific hours in question?
Whoa.
Before the bodies were found.
Whoa. Yeah, because he said he came back to like a farm. He said he came back to like a farm. Oh my gosh.
So another curiosity that we didn't talk about before, obviously the white car at the CPS building was reported, but other reports state that it was a red car. And there are even further statements of an individual being reported getting into a red car. Also, these are all early statements and rumors, so again, there's no verification here yet on any of these, but it's kind of weird. Actually,
what a
before
video.
we even get to the red car, there's another interesting article here.
I'm glad I clicked on this.
Okay, so what does everybody make regarding this early information, unreleased information? I mean, this mind-shocking account of a kid that witnessed the actual abduction and possibly the murder as well. Was he hitchhiking? How well did he know the other guy? Or was it all just made up?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so hard to say because seemingly a lot of these theories and early rumors, they seem to match up with the context of law enforcement statements at the press conferences. Now, that doesn't mean they're true in any way. Again, to all the goofs out there hallucinating, I am claiming any of these are true. I am not claiming anything is true or untrue. I wasn't there. I don't know.
Right. It's all
But
speculation.
if you just line up some of these theories
Wow.
and the context of what law
Yeah.
enforcement was stating at the press conferences,
Yeah.
theoretically, these pieces could fit.
They could.
And now when you add up all the weirdness with the way the bodies were found, reported, not found initially,
Right.
I mean, it's just such a problem.
Staged.
It's such a problem, especially when you're trying to prosecute or gather evidence, because if volunteers actually did pull the bodies out of the water, I mean, what are you going to do with that? So again, all the Mind Shock listeners, feel free to give your
Wow.
own thoughts, theories, opinions, rebuttals, debunkings
What
of
a
any
video.
kind to any of this information.
Again, I'll put this link to the video. I'm definitely going to have to listen to this a few times because that's very interesting. And I never heard any rumors about volunteers pulling the bodies out of the water. That's interesting. Huh. Okay, we're going to switch to Kohberger. We got a few short videos from Banfield from last night. Wow. I would love to listen to that one more time, but I got a lot more other stuff. I tell you what, if I get through all my Kohberger stuff, we'll go back to this because I do want to hear this again. That was very interesting. All right, we're going to switch to Banfield, a couple short clips of Banfield, and then we're going to go to Nancy Grace. Silver platter. What a video, though. Thank you,
And
Mancha.
then a whole bunch of other people who are more like ticking time bombs and would like to see him blown up. Because as it turns out, there are multiple letters in to the Moscow jail, and they are threatening the life of Brian Kohberger. And they are not treated like the love letters, slightly different.
Interesting.
For that, I turn to the guy I know who knows everything about prisons and jails, and that's Larry Levine. He's the director and the founder of Wall Street Prison Consultants. And also with me tonight, Dr. Michael Aaron. He is a psychotherapist and a certified sex therapist specializing in fetishes. I think he might be able to get first to you, Larry. When a threatening letter comes in,
Why are you wearing sunglasses on TV, bro?
dismembered or whatever it is they're threatening, what's the protocol? Does he get to see these letters?
No, they're not going to do that, and they're going to refer it over
It's so
to
bright.
the postal inspector,
It's so bright.
and they'll launch an investigation and try to track the letters back. But you know, this is nothing new. Look at Jodi Arias, the Menden brothers, Scott Peterson,
It's so bright.
Charles Manson. They all receive letters. I mean, Charles Manson married somebody that was writing letters to them. It's these
where's my
women
sunglasses
that
at?
I spoke to Jacqueline Pavlari, my colleague, who's a psychologist, and she said that these women are insecure and they lack self-esteem, and that they find that the men, they're not available, but they are. They know that they're not cheating on them.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find
What
News
a say.
Nation on your television provider.
I couldn't hold my hand up there the whole time. But man, that was bright. I'm surprised those other people up there could. All right. Why do some women fall for accused killers? Banfield again, another Banfield, and another Banfield after that. And then we got Nancy Grace, right? 20 minutes of Nancy Grace.
I can't understand anybody who would admire someone like this. So I am being told that the letters are going to Kohberger's attorney first, who's taking a look through them, and then they're going off to the authorities for follow-up. And by the way, those are the kinds of things that can get you in a whole heap of trouble if you threaten someone's life. So Dr. Aaron,
Yeah.
can you dovetail off of what Larry just said about the kind of person? I mean, for instance, Brittany Hislop, what exactly would they possibly see in someone whose headlines are only awful?
Yeah, I think he made a really good point where I think, first of all, there's this allure of the bad boy, you know, and maybe a lot of women are attracted to bad boys generally, you know, who are kind of confident and they're
It was just a joke,
rule
Jerry
breakers or whatever. That may be attract women, but in addition, this is a bad boy who's a captive audience. And this is an individual who is not going anywhere. This is an individual that's not going to leave them. This is a guy who's always going to be there and probably is so bored that he's always going to be receptive to their letters. So this is kind of a fantasy scenario of a kind of a true love with the ideal bad boy. You know, and the fantasy is so strong that kind of maybe some of the details are a little bit less relevant because the main thing.
That's it. That's exactly where I was going with this. Is
What?
this a compartmental, well, literally a willful blindness to the horrors that he visited upon these 4 innocent children, to the horror that they went through in the last moments of their life, to the horrors that have been left behind for their families, to the horrors for everyone else who feels now like we know these 4 kids and can't imagine that someone could do this? Are these people just that clueless, or are they just that unkind to humanity that they could just compartmentalize that stuff away?
There's a lot of people like that these days. Come on now.
I think it's a very self-centered focus because the fantasy predominates everything.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's facts.
And thank you for letting me know that you're ending the video. That's pretty cool. My YouTube folder has not thrown me up at the top. Oh man, I'm gonna sneeze again. I feel it coming. Oh, maybe not. But not killers.
I think it's important because in the Idaho murder case, there's been a lot of focus on the chief defendant in the case, Brian Kohberger. And now we are learning a few things were happening in that man's life leading up to and right after the murders. Things like being investigated by his own school, Washington State University, where he was working as a teaching assistant. And apparently the investigation wasn't going well. He was warned time after time after time to cut back on the bad behavior. We're told behavioral problems specifically. But time after time after time, he didn't. He got more feisty and belligerent, even arguing with his professors, until they finally decided, you're fired. That's right. Brian Kohberger was fired as a teaching assistant from Washington State University. I have the actual specifics of this, and I want to...
Okay, this is when was he fired, and Nancy Grace is going to be going into that when we get to her video. Why was he fired? When was he? I mean, not why, but when was he fired? Because when hell, the last 3 months, we were talking about how, you know, there was no like signs, and then like the last month and a half, then it was like maybe 2 months. No, month and a half. It was like, okay, he went back and he came back to school. The interviews with the students saying that, oh, he was nice after he came back, you know. He didn't. He was given hundreds, and he wasn't leaving long, you know. He wasn't leaving long reviews of their papers and stuff, and so I wonder when. I missed the bad boy. Time after time, if you fall. Oh my Lord, Phantom, here we go. Where's justice, right?
What we have come to learn was the sort of timeline of his warnings and all of the things that were listed on a termination letter that Kohberger himself was given.
right before they cut the cord with him.
When?
So
When
I'm going
did
to
they
just
do
watch
it?
some of these so I don't get them wrong.
Because I heard reports that it was before the crimes. Yeah, right here. No, I heard reports that they got rid of him before the crime. When did they get rid of him? Right before he went back home?
But the highlights, or lowlights, I guess you might call them, was that he had a sexist attitude towards females that he interacted with at the school, that he was rude to the women, and then get this, as a teaching assistant, he
Just like he was at the bars.
graded the women differently than he graded the men.
Huh.
Here is the alleged language that was included in his termination letter, along with the timeline, starting on September 23rd. And by our math, that's about 1 month into his brand new job as a teaching assistant in his doctoral program, which may or may not
What's up, Kel?
have been tied to his teaching job. September 23rd.
All right. September 23rd, altercation with professor. October 3rd, meeting to discuss professional behavior. October 21st, received email about failure to meet expectations. November 2nd, meeting to discuss improvement plan. December 7th, meeting to discuss improvement plan progress. Second altercation with December 19th, officially terminated. Okay, but he left on... So he left before he was officially terminated because he was already in Pennsylvania, right? It was December 13th to the 15th that he was driving back to PA, right? So he was officially terminated after he was already in Pennsylvania. Second altercation happened on December 9th. Huh. Let me take a screenshot of this real quick. All right. Huh. That's interesting.
Koberger apparently has an altercation with one of the professors named Dr. Snyder. Just 10 days later, on October 3rd, the letter outlines that they had met to, quote, discuss the norms of professional behavior. And then 18 days after that, on October the 21st, Dr. Snyder emails Brian Koberger to say that he has, quote, failed to meet the expectations that were outlined in the discussions they'd
What's
had
up, Josie?
before. 12 days after that, on November the 2nd, they met again to discuss what they called an improvement plan.
No, I do not follow him on Twitter, and I can't follow anybody on Twitter right now. Twitter's been messing up. YouTube made me late tonight. It wasn't linking up with StreamYard. Yeah, it was interesting. Ava. I gotta do my show. Hope, but watch documentary special he is being in.
And then on December the 7th, that's about, well, let's cut to actually 12 days later, 11 days later, the murders actually happened. So they have the meeting to discuss the improvement plan. And 11 days later, on November 13th, the murders are carried out. Then cut forward to 24 days beyond, and that's December 7th. That's when there was another meeting with the professors, and this was supposed to be about the progress of the, quote, improvement plan. Apparently, it didn't go too well because 2 days later, on December 9th, he had another altercation with Dr.
I
Snyder.
wonder what they
And
were.
Here's the quote, in which it became apparent that you had not made progress regarding professionalism.
Ooh.
10 days after that, December 19th,
But I thought
Brian Koberger is officially terminated.
I thought the
by
student said
Washington
he
State
was great
University.
after that.
And some are reporting that he was withdrawn from the data system 3 days later on December the 22nd. Thank you for watching. Go to News.
Oh, that's an interesting video. We got one more from Ashley Banfield. And then we're going to get into that Nancy Grace episode. Chill back. Enjoy some Nancy Grace action. Silver platter, HELL. And then we'll be ending it for the evening. And then we'll be back tomorrow night with Alec Murdaugh's special. All night.
The curious appeal of the world's most savage murderers. Dr. Bond, you probably just heard the breaking news that we just reported on all of these conflagrations that Brian Koberger seemed to have been having with his professors, with his students, and with other people among the staff, to the point where he was cut loose. He was fired from Washington State University from his teaching job. I just wanted to get your initial reactions to sort of that behavioral profile as you look at then all these accused.
Oh, absolutely. And first of all, thank you for having me on this evening. And I wanted to say, I was thinking about this myself. I was a TA. When I was getting my PhD at the University of Miami, I was a TA, and that TA position was tied to my funding, my assistantship that paid for my entire education. So that is not something you want to lose. You do not want to risk losing something like that. And the fact that it escalated so quickly and that he was terminated in his first semester there would suggest to me that his...
You know, Ava, that's right, because I went to the website. Before they took it down or took him off of it. I went to that and I actually got a screenshot of it. Because that was the first day or two that I learned how to do a screenshot on here from Justice. She told me. And I remember taking that screenshot, and then all of a sudden it was gone. That is true. Ooh, thank you, Ava. That is right. He was up there. How about zip ties? Licorice robes. I was GA for a couple years in grad school. Good money.
Behavior really was egregious, that it was something that had become a big problem for the department and the university. And so I wanted to just give that as a little bit of background. But to the extent that that this letter, which I don't believe the letter has been completely authenticated yet, but if it is in fact true and the timeline is true, then this is something that could have absolutely contributed to him reaching a tipping point in his rage and anger and leading him to strike out in this terrible murder situation.
Yeah, we don't have our hands on the letter yet, but we've had the essence of it authenticated by a source close to the investigation. And that's the next best thing without actually getting your hands on a copy of the termination letter. And obviously, when it comes to those kinds of, staff and policy, obviously administrative staff policies, employment records are pretty private. It's hard to get your hands on those things. But I'm curious about...
Right, yeah, especially
I was so curious when you said that for you, the teaching assistant job was tied to the actual program. And I'm guessing that that's not a far stretch to suggest the accommodations that were on campus as well might have been part of that too. So there could have been a lot of stress. What I can't understand is the utter bravado that it would take if all of that was on the line and you're getting warning after warning and a helping hand to try to work through your problems. What kind of personality do you think this is that would literally thumb his nose at the authority that hold his future in their hands?
Great question. And
yeah.
this crime that he committed is actually a mass murder. But I've been saying for some time now that the more that we learn about him, his development and his progression seems more similar to a serial killer. And I've studied serial killers extensively for some time. And so this didn't just happen, Ashley. I think that he was evolving, developing over a period of time. And he reached a tipping point where he simply couldn't take it anymore. And he had to act out on his fantasy of
Oh
killing.
my gosh, you
And
guys are
so
crazy.
something like this, where the rug had been pulled out from under him, his funding, his home, as you said, which I do believe was probably tied to his assistantship and his TA position, it could have just pushed him over the edge to the point that he had
Right.
to act out. And because the escalation was already there, as you said, he was in trouble by September, by October. The murders took place in November, but he already knew that he was in deep trouble by then.
Well, he still has the presumption of innocence, and these are allegations against him until they're proven in a
Right.
court of law. So at this point, he is an accused quadruple murderer. I'm still just so astounded by the sexism and the allegations that he was grading the women differently than the men, and that to me would be a big, red
Oh
flag
my
for those teachers,
gosh.
or should have been, and perhaps they did catch it very quickly as they started
Oh,
right in
that's
September. Can't thank you enough. So just so enlightening. Dr. Bond, thank you. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Have a
Oh, that's funny. A buddy of mine from high school had that haircut. His nickname was Sonic. We called him Sonic. He had a mullet, but the he had a mullet, but the top right here, it was like maybe that long, and it spiked up like that, guys, and yeah, we nicknamed him Sonic. Yeah, the hedgehog. We nicknamed him Sonic. It was great. He loved it. He embraced it. All right, we're gonna go to Nancy. Oh man, I wanted to go to this Drunk Turkey show. Maybe Friday. Yeah, bomb threats at the Murdaugh case today. We'll be talking Murdaugh tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Central. All right, we're going to switch to this Nancy Grace video. It's 21 minutes. Crime Online with Nancy Grace. Oh, wow. She changed her name now. It used to be Crime Online News. Now it's Crime Online with Nancy Grace. Or has it always been? I thought it was. There's a lot more Idaho 4 in here. Maybe one night we'll have a Nancy Grace night where we just have Nancy Grace videos the whole night. He had what? He had a mullet. He had a mullet with a spiky front like that guy did on this last video. Yeah. And it was all spiky like that too. Thanks, Trey. All right, we're going to hit up this Nancy Grace. We're going to chill back. Kick in the auto drive. And we're just going to relax, enjoy this Nancy Grace video, and then I'll be ending the show after that for the evening. Thank you everybody for hanging out. Sorry I'm all stuffy and shit. I had a mohawk one time for about
everybody.
a
Does
week.
it never end?
About a week.
Brian Kohberger.
Then I shaved it.
Kohberger, as you know, stands accused of the slaughter of 4 innocent
Count.
and beautiful students there at
What the
University
hell,
of Idaho.
YouTube? This is crazy. The
Hi,
YouTube,
everybody.
Twitter,
This
Instagram.
now end with Brian Kohberger. Kohberger, as you know, stands accused of the slaughter of 4.
Okay, it did this earlier, and all I had to do was refresh it, and then it fixed it. This is so crazy. What is going on with YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram?
Hi, everybody. Does it never end with Brian Kohberger?
Okay, I won't touch nothing. Dang it.
Kohberger, as
Are you serious?
Stands accused of.
In his other life.
Look,
he
the
was fired
thumbnail
from the
shows
bar
regular,
gonna do in
but
the
it's
future.
showing up as...
So look,
Professor, he's just a TA.
Okay, hold on a second, guys. Let me try something different here. Let me go back. Take it off, add it back, refresh, see if that switches it up. And it threw me to the top. 1 second. I apologize. It's crazy. A b-ball bet made a blonde. That's funny. All right. Let me try this and see if it works. All right, save to playlist. So I'm going to unclick it, click it, refresh. I'm just trying different shit here. It's been working all night, so hopefully this works. All right. Because I really want to watch this tonight. If not, we'll click to one of those other videos she talks about Kohberger, because there's a few of them. I just haven't watched any of them because they're like 20-some minutes. But tonight I was like, I'm watching a Nancy Grace video. So if we can't get this one to show up right, we'll go to one of those other ones. I appreciate your patience.
Beautiful students there at University of Idaho. And in the past days, we learn of reports that Kohberger was fired from his job as a teaching assistant there at WSU, Washington.
Well, I'm glad that we got to hear all that information from News Nation then. Let me see. Did suspects study Florida? Ooh. That was 2 hours ago. Yeah, that's what we're... 1 day ago. We did check that out. Students, no. Is there more? All right, there's no more. Murdoch. Let's see. So it's just these. Okay. So I'm gonna go to the study the floor plan. I don't know. Let me try this one more time.
Of Jacksonville and also fed.
All right, maybe tomorrow. Let's click on this one. We'll go to study the floor plan. We got to get some Nancy Grace tonight about Kohberger.
You know what? Does it ever end with Brian Kohberger, the man charged in murders of 4 beautiful? That's the only word I can really think of to describe the Idaho University students.
It's
that
doing
were
it to this one
slaughtered in their
too.
own beds.
What?
You know what? Does it ever end with Brian Kohberger, the man charged in the murders of 4 beautiful, that's the only word I can really think of to describe the Idaho University students that were slaughtered in their own beds? Joining me, a real expert.
Yes.
Chris McDonough, director at the Cold Case Foundation, former homicide detective, host of a YouTube channel, The Interview Room, and you can find him at coldcasefoundation.org. I understand, Chris McDonough, that you have discussed at length the specter that Brian Kohberger actually studied the floor plan of the students' home, the off-campus home, where the 4 students were murdered. Is that right?
Right, Nancy. So I had a
Wait. That was a yes/no, Chris McDonough.
Whoa.
Have you spoken with an FBI person?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I just want to throw one question at you to start with. Okay, Chris McDonough. I first found you on YouTube in the interview room because I was trolling for anything I could find out about the Idaho murder. This was before Kohberger was arrested, before we even heard the name Kohberger. And you did for me what I later did for myself, but I couldn't get there in time. You beat me to it to do a slow drive through the whole area. And you did it just the way I would want to do it myself, which I did later do, going at about literally 2 miles an hour. I'm sure you had a whole convoy behind you, Chris McDonough. You were driving along the main street and talking, describing what you were seeing,
I don't know,
pointing the camera at it, turning left. Remember that gas station, going up into the neighborhood where the 4 students were murdered, pointing out everything
I don't know what's
we would
going
want
on
to see,
with
a
YouTube.
traffic light, a stop sign, a camera,
YouTube's bugging.
the main street, and talking, describing what you were seeing, pointing the camera at it, turning left. Remember that gas station, going up into the neighborhood where the 4 students were murdered, pointing out everything we would
What
want to
the
see,
heck?
a traffic light, a stop sign, a camera, a surveillance camera, just everything. It was wonderful. That's
How
how I
is
found
it-
Chris McDonough. Now, Chris McDonough,
How is it that YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter are all having problems tonight? The Celt effect. What the heck? It's just bugging. It happened to some videos earlier tonight, and I just refreshed a couple times, and it went away. I don't know what the hell is going on. It kind of sucks because I like having the video. You know, it's nice having the video to go with it. That sucks. I refresh and the regular video shows up for a couple seconds and then it goes right back to that buggy shit. Well, we'll go to there's a new video released on that News Nation reporter that was arrested earlier in Ohio that was at the governor's press conference. So I'll go ahead and switch to that. We'll save the, I'm sorry. We're just going to have to save these Nancy Grace episodes for a different night. It's just, I don't know how else to fix it. But we got a couple videos of the News Nation reporter. We got one of him being released, and then we have the actual News Nation reporter that is going to be interviewed after he walks out. And we'll catch those two tonight. And then we'll just have to catch the Nancy Grace on Friday. But, we will have Nancy Grace tomorrow night because it's more Murdaugh. And she's got a lot of interesting videos on Murdaugh. So, she will be part of the special tomorrow night. Kevin Kraft is going to be hopping on tomorrow night. I think Kib Kitty, if she's feeling okay, she might be hopping on tomorrow night. And anybody else that wants to hop up on open panel and discuss the Murdaugh case with us, please do. I encourage anybody who would like to hop up there, please do. All right, so let me go to this first News Nation. This is the one where he's getting released, and then we'll watch the interview with him after that.
Our camera. It'll take him a hot minute to get his IFB back in his ear, the one that probably ended up on the ground beside him as he was being arrested, and to get a microphone on. And the cameraman's probably stepped away from the shot to get him mic'd up and connected so that he can tell us the story. He certainly looks no worse for the wear, having spent a couple of hours in the pokey, which is no fun. Sometimes you get a bologna sandwich, sometimes you don't. But he was facing the prospect of spending the night in there. And again, it's critical that everyone knows if the governor right away said this was wrong and apologized right away. It's a long 4.5, 5 hours to spend, waiting.
They've recovered some of it, Cherry, and they said it was bigger than the Statue of Liberty. They haven't found 100% of it. I don't know. It's just, you can never really believe what they're reporting anyway with that shit, because they're not gonna tell us the damn truth anyway. Navy picked it up shortly after we blasted it out of the sky. I know they said they were still trying to get, but I don't know if they could even get 100% of it. Maybe.
To find out if you're going to spend the night and then see a judge at 9:30 in the morning, which I think, or 8:30 in the morning, something like that. He was, that was the prospect anyway. I wonder if he's behind the camera getting hugs from our other colleagues there who missed him, who were dispatched there to do this job today and actually report on the East Palestine train derailment instead of News Nation's reporter getting arrested and cuffed and roughed up a little bit on the ground there. A couple of other things. We still don't know what the status is of the disorderly conduct and criminal trespassing. So Evan has some paperwork in his hands that he came out of the jail with. I don't know if there's, information in those papers or if he's even had a chance to read through them. If that is a full dismissal, that happens. You can get charges dropped right away, and a full dismissal, that can happen very quickly. And like you just heard Morgan Harper say, Mike DeWine, who, by the way, I've interviewed Mike DeWine many times, the Ohio governor. He is a delightful
telling my ass to go to bed.
I don't always say that about politicians. But Mike DeWine's one of the good ones. He's a nice guy. He's an honest guy. He's a straight shooter. I've never had any issues with Mike DeWine. And to hear him give that apology on the air live after what Evan went through, it sounds like that's a pretty strong statement. So I was actually surprised that it took as long as it did. But here's my guess. Having done this job for a bit, I have this feeling that Mike DeWine's people probably did approach the folks at the
I'll
the
put
county
it
jail.
in there.
Probably next to our attorney or
Tommy
two
Lee
as well. It said, this is ridiculous. We have real crime out on the streets. You see it on the news every day. You see people bonding out of jail, no cash bonds. Boom. Before the, broken glass is even cleaned up. And yet Evan was not afforded bond. He was going to spend the night. That was the plan. And I think that, as Morgan Harper just said, that does not reflect well on authorities in Ohio. I am a big fan of police. I think they put their lives on the line every single day to protect us. There's nothing more dangerous than just stopping a darn car. And most of us have no idea just how much risk is involved in that.
Right.
And, 99.9% of the police do this every day. They don't get paid very much to do it. They kiss their wives and husbands goodbye, and you don't know if you're going to see them at the end of the day. And then sort of this stuff happens, the pink cuffs and the pink gun and the whole, disorderly or failure to comply, which wasn't at all what the charge was. So sometimes things can go awry.
What?
I was also surprised to see that there was so much management standing around this arrest. People who looked like they were had higher office holding positions in a supervisory role, who seemed to think all of this was fine. Nobody saw this. None of the police on location sort of saw this. This is dumb. This guy didn't hurt anybody. This guy's not dangerous. He's not a violent criminal. He's not disrupting the proceedings. He actually did what we asked. He shut down his live report. Why have we let this escalate to this?
He shut
is a
it
reporter.
down.
He does have a First Amendment right to do this job. And Evan, from all accounts, seemed to us to have been simply trying to let them know, I am a reporter and I have to do this job, and that's what I'm doing, and it's inappropriate to kick me out. I complied with you.
Pink gun
I
and,
do need to do this job.
pink cuffs.
Maybe we'll hear
I
otherwise.
guess. Is
But
that he
like I
had-
said, thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to
I thought she said that's what he was arrested. I don't know. I could be wrong. That's just what it sounded like. And whoa, I'm trying to go to my subs. Dang. All right, here's the video right here. So hopefully we get some information from this one.
welcome back. This was a hell of a day. Tell me what you're thinking.
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. Everyone's just been checking on me. I'm doing fine right now, and it's just been an extremely long day. I have to be kind of careful about what I say, but as you can see, I'm out. Most things are on video of the situation, so it's pretty clear to see what happened. But I'll just say this: I'm just trying to do my job as I am continuing to do right now. And that's what it's all about, protecting the First Amendment and democracy and trying to help people get information. We were talking about this major accident that impacted hundreds, thousands of people in this town, and that's just what we were trying to do at the time and what I continue to try to do.
Are you doing okay? I know that is quite an experience, and it's never one anybody wants to go through. Are you just? I know you must be shaken up.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's something that people don't necessarily expect to happen, especially with cameras rolling. But I guess we're in a world where obviously as journalists, that's always the case. But I think just for regular people too, everybody has a camera, and I think that's great. And we should record these things when they happen. But again, obviously a long day, but I'm doing okay. Did a lot of sitting around.
Right.
Listen, I'm a
That's
legal
what you do.
reporter, and I totally understand the circumstance you may find yourself in right now. So I fully understand if there are things you can't discuss. Let's just preface that. Whenever you're in the middle of a process like this, doing an interview on television, that can be a tricky wicket. So if I ask you anything and it's something you prefer not to answer, I fully understand. I get it. You've got paperwork in your hand. That's the number one clue that it could be difficult. Can you tell me anything? Don't hold that up too high. People can freeze that frame. But as a journalist myself, I have to ask you, is there anything you can tell me about, what happened after the rush hour live shot ended? And before, because there's a piece that we're all missing about the moment you signed off the air.
Yeah, I think that's what I kind of have to be careful about. You referenced the paperwork. This essentially says that there are still charges pending against me. So
really,
considering that, I don't think I'm going to talk too specifically about those moments. But what I can say is that no one expects, no journalist expects to be arrested when you're doing your job. And I think that's really important that doesn't happen in our country. It obviously happens more often, more frequently in other countries that don't have the freedoms that we do and the Constitution that protects this job that I'm so lucky to be able to do. And I'm going to continue doing it. And nothing like this situation is going to stop us from reporting on what people need to know.
Oh, Evan, one last thing. Because you were, taken away, you probably didn't hear all the reporting that's been going on after you were, taken to the jail, and you just literally come through the doors. So I'd like to just let you know, if you don't already know, that Governor Mike DeWine, who you were there to cover, who was going to give an update on the train crash, he has spoken extensively about this. He's apologized to you. I just want to read you a little bit of this. It says, "It's always been my practice that if I'm doing a press conference, someone wants to report out there and they want to be talking back to the people back on the channel, whatever, they have every right to do that. If someone was stopped from doing that or told they could not do that, that was wrong. It was nothing that I authorized." He said he didn't see the incident taking place, but he did say that he was sorry that this had happened. Had you been informed of that yet?
I think I overheard that the governor had said something, and I appreciate him speaking out. As he said, that shouldn't happen, and so obviously I wasn't trying to steal his thunder or anything like that. Again, just trying to do our job. We didn't even really know. We had no idea when he was going to come up to the podium, and as Ashley, in live TV, when you have that hit time, you're there in front of the camera ready to go, and that's what we do when we do our job.
Yeah, and this is Brian Enton's Twitter real quick. I want to show what the governor had stated, according to that, Brian Enton's Twitter. And basically says Governor DeWine did not see that incident take place because his view was blocked by a bank of cameras recording the press conference. However, he did hear a disagreement toward the back of the gymnasium. He was later advised that a reporter who had been giving a live report during the briefing was asked to end the broadcast because the volume of his reporting was perceived to be interfering with the event. Governor DeWine did not request that the reporter stop his live broadcast, nor did he know that the request was being made. As the governor said at the conclusion of today's briefing, he has always respected the media's right to report live before, during, and after his press briefings, and the interruption to the reporter's broadcast should not have taken place. Because the governor did not witness what occurred after the broadcast ended, we cannot provide comment on what led to the reporter's arrest. So that was the statement by the governor. Oh, you guys are fine. Don't worry about that. Ooh. All right, everybody. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end the show for the evening. Thanks for hanging out. If you're on replay, please hit the like. And if you're not sub, please hit that button too. Come on back. I appreciate everybody hanging out, your chat, your conversations. Crazy stuff tonight. Crime scene to courtroom. Mind shock. Crazy video. Very interesting. But I will see you tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Central. We might go into a couple quick updates real quick, and then we're going to be talking Alec Murdaugh the whole rest of the evening. So if you have any links regarding the Murdaugh case and you'd like us to try and cover it, please send them to me. And if there's any articles too, we'll definitely go over articles. And if you'd like to call in tomorrow night, or if you'd like to hop up on open panel, you're more than welcome to. I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for hanging out. Have a peaceful and positive evening. I know it's getting warm out there. Yeah. I think I'm going to take some medicine here after I get this show over. We'll see. I might end up somewhere. Good night, everybody. Appreciate you.